Men and women. Why do we want to be in constant conflict with each other? And is there a solution for the conflict to stop? We address these questions and more on Revelations, the panel. Welcome to a special presentation of Revelations called The Panel. I'm your moderator, Cole Johnson, here to guide you through the topic that we're about to discuss right now. Two different genders, sometimes operating under two different agendas. Is there fault to be had? Are we responsible for the chasm? Or is it like the title of a Shakespearean play where it's simply much ado about nothing? Well, to guide me through this conversation are three women and three men I highly respect and admire. And here they are, because you're about to meet the panelists coming up. She is 1/3 of the television show and podcast Life Happens, which airs on the BSU Network every Wednesday at 8 p.m. 7 Central. She also is an author and the host and the executive producer of that program as well. This unapologetic woman of God is also co-author of the book God's Grace with Affirmations. She's from the Metroplex by way of South Africa. Our first panelist, Miss Grace Rabia Wood.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. She is the host and executive producer of Vee Wrote. Along with that, she's 1/3 of the ensemble podcast video show called All Dot Up. She also has done a lot of other things. She also is an entrepreneur as well. She bleeds burnt orange, being a graduate of the University of Texas, and is a Bears fan. So sorry. Making her return to Revelations, our second panelist, Miss VJ Burton.
Hi, thank you for having me and telling the world that I'm a Bears fan.
But I know you're proud of that. I've known you for a while.
I am very proud of it.
Yeah, I know, and I'm proud that you are.
Good for me, right?
Exactly. She literally brings sunshine everywhere she goes. She's the host and creator and executive producer of the podcast Mocha Minutes. She also is a public speaker. She's charismatic, charming, intelligent, Towson University graduate, and of course that's an inside joke, and Baltimore native. She also makes a return to the platform. Our third panelist, Miss Stephanie Williams.
Hello.
It is just you again.
Oh my gosh. That intro, I am screaming.
Well, you bet the ladies, now for the gentlemen. He is 1/4 of the show Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast, which airs on the BS3 Network every Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Central. He serves as the sports arm of the show. He also is a self-professed Braves and Eagles fan. Feel sorry for the Braves. He hails all the way from San Antonio.
Ooh, painful.
Our fourth panelist, Mr. Kevin Peoples, a.k.a. KPeeps, a.k.a. Kev the Great.
By the way, that's a really good shot of the picture, but now they got to turn and look at my rough face. See, that ain't right, bro. You could have warned the brother. You could have warned the brother.
You too much, brother. But I love that you're here, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
He also is 1/4 of the show Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast. He is the host and moderator and executive producer of the program. He also is the co-executive producer of the the online radio show WLEO.
Okay.
Yes, your favorite neighborhood uncle, Bandwagon fan extraordinaire, our fifth panelist, Mr. Perry.
Nah.
Cole, you wrong, buddy. You wrong. You
Ben
wrong.
said shots fired, and he's
And you shall
exactly
pay, my
right.
good man.
Oh, I shall.
You for having me, bro.
No, good to see you, man. But you know, I had to tell the truth about your brother.
I know.
Dead on.
Exactly.
Shut up. Yeah.
And he is one half an executive producer of the television program Spot BJY's at Heavy, which airs on the BSU Network. You'll air it later on tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central. He also is part of the Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson Ensemble as well. That show airs every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. He also is the host and executive producer of Stuck in My Mind podcast, which is under the Real Wise Productions. Making his return to Revelations, our sixth and final panelist, Mr. Wilfredo Otero, a.k.a. Wise El Jefe.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, man.
How's everybody doing today?
You see
And
how that
thank
man
you
roll his
guys.
R's?
Yay.
Thank you guys for joining me. Yes, here's our own collection of the Brady family. All right.
Hey.
Thank you all for joining me on this conversation. I'm glad that you're here. Now, later in the show, audience members, you will get the opportunity to ask questions to any and every one of them, even me if you want to. We will have a Q&A segment directly for you to ask those questions. So your voice will be thoroughly represented as well. So get those questions ready. We will address them at the appropriate time. But for now, let's get right with it and get with opening thoughts. Now, here's where we'll get the panelists' raw thoughts on the topic at face value. Now, when you all hear the words battle of the sexes, what immediately comes to mind? And we will start with the one I call Mocha or Stephanie.
Why did I know he was going to start with me? I hear Battle of the Sexes and I hear y'all going to lose.
She won't smoke.
See?
Boom.
See?
Word on the street was somebody else wanted smoke. I was like, famous last word.
See? You asked for a Kev. You see, you got it. There you go. Grace?
When I heard Battle of the Sexes, I said war. Because it's a battle, right? There's a winner and a loser, and we know who's going to win and who's going to lose.
Hold on. Fellas.
All right.
It's coming. Yeah.
When I moment of transparency here as a moderator. When I put forth the call for panelists, I was hoping Grace would be one of them because I know the energy with which she comes. It's beautiful, but she's a warrior, and I love that about you.
Yeah, I watched that show.
Being Roku about to tear up. It's about to break.
VJ?
Well, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that answer. Yeah, I just thought in my mind it was going to be a spirited debate, and I was like, well, we'll see what happens. And I was just like, I'm going to keep an open mind and an open heart, and hopefully, I don't.
We don't go to blows on this show.
Hopefully, I'm not embarrassed by what I said in 10 minutes. So,
I got you, V. All you have to be is yourself, VJ. You'll be fine. I don't think you'll have an issue. Wise?
Oh, me? Oh, man. Well, I thought Battle of the Sexes. Let's see, when I heard that, I was like, this is probably something between me and my wife. Conversation me and my wife.
Sounds about right.
So, me and her battle all the time. So, I'm kind of prepared for this.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we winning then. That's what
I don't know about all
Is
that. See, I didn't say I win it. I didn't say I win the battle.
He said he battled. He never
didn't say
said
nothing
he
about
won. Sounds like you put up a fight.
I love that.
I know that's
I
right.
love
Do it
that.
for little Saint.
Oh my
Do it
gosh.
for little Saint.
Okay, one Mister who wants all the smoke. I'm sorry, Kev.
Yeah, fellas. there's some. I bought the Crown Royal, salted caramel, and some wine. We're gonna celebrate this win tonight. Y'all hear me? That's what we're gonna do. We celebrate today. When I heard Battle of Sexes, men versus fellas.
Imagine your victory
women.
drink being Crown Royal.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Salted caramel Crown Royal. Get that straight, all right? All right.
You know what? You right. You right.
Yeah.
Salted caramel is a good choice.
There you go. You know.
Oh my gosh.
Compromise.
That's
Oh
funny.
Lord. I'm like the man in the Dos Equis commercial. Drink responsibly, folks. Guru.
What up, bro?
So when you hear Battle of the Sexes, what immediately comes to mind?
Bring it home, Terry.
Well, you know
Wow.
I'm cornball. You know I'm cornball. When I hear about it, when I first heard the Battle of the Sexes, I automatically wanted to be a part of this thing, right? Because I immediately thought about the Autobots and Decepticons, old school Transformers, and the Battle of Good versus Evil. So yeah, I'm always down for a battle, in fun, in love, as long as we can get someplace after this. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? So,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's a good answer, Star.
By get someplace, he means victory lane. So, fellas,
I didn't say that.
Terry,
I'll say this right here.
am I by myself today?
Because
You are.
It's not about
Like
it's not
it.
about victory or losing. It's about coming to an understanding. That's what it's about at the end of the day.
Whatever you say, Starscream. Whatever you say.
Anybody who wants-
She didn't call you Megatron.
Wow.
She didn't call you Megatron. That's wow.
She went.
See what I'm
She
saying?
went right to the lackey. She went Starscream.
Yeah, Starscream on.
Terry.
Good.
Wow.
I'm just trying to be okay.
Thirsty. We're take that. Stop.
The gloves, they coming off. They
coming off.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Cole, I
Okay,
tried to
we
tell
just
you.
don't know.
I tried to tell you.
You tried to tell them? Okay.
I
All right.
tried.
I don't have any smoke.
Whole little ting ting.
Well,
Tink, tink.
well, the owner, the manipulator, and the operator of the BSU network says good evening to everybody. He also
What's up, Ben?
he
Hi,
also
Ben.
Hey, Ben.
he also with the women answering the way the way that they did, he said shots fired early.
Shame.
Oh, she got plenty of ammo for that.
My partner Snowman, how you doing, brother? He says, hey, Snowman
What up,
here.
Big Snow?
He says, I may need a few of those drinks, Kev.
Bring it. I got plenty for you, bro. I got
Knock
there's
on the
more.
door.
And I
Don't
think
make
he liked that Starscream reference, Stephanie.
Yeah, watch.
Oh
Come
my
on, pop
gosh.
culture.
So you see how this is going to go. It is spirited. It is fun, though. And that's how it's supposed to be.
I love it. I love
when
the
we-
energy in here.
When we come back, we're going to warm things up. Well, that's what the segment's actually called.
Oof.
You're
Hey,
watching
it's-
and you're listening to Revelations, the panel, Battle of the Sexes. Why are we aggressively in competition with each other? Back after this. We'll be right back with more Revelations, the panel.
Of course, Steph Curry, Tim Anderson, Jordan Alvarez. And it's caught! Debo Samuel with the catch. Michael Jordan can sense. The throw just got the king.
BS3 Network.
The hottest of hot takes, the coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. Discouragement, sorrow, distance. Your arguments cause damage to your family. The hurt leads to divorce. You feel like there is nowhere else to turn. But there is hope for you. That's where we come into play. There is an overcomer that lives inside of you. One ready to take on the world as you leap for joy, living in victory. You'll grow to love yourself and others. There's life after divorce, and you can claim it today. Get over divorce where your new story begins here every Thursday on YouTube and Spreaker. What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and what Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens Podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. Welcome back to Revelations, the panel, as we talk Battle of the Sexes and why both genders feel the need to compete. But before we go to the next question, Grace, go ahead and take some time to explain the concept of the show Life Happens and expectations of it going forward.
Okay, so initially the Life Happens show started as me and Kim are both ministers, right? So it started out where we want to teach people about how to pray and stuff. And I realized, no, we need to find out what is the heartbeat, and the heartbeat is relationship. So we decided to take our spirituality and combine it with everyday practical things to create a balance, right? Because God is balanced, and we were way too spiritual. And when you're too spiritual, you cannot effectively help people. So that was the thought process. Okay, how can we be effective in the gospel, right? You cannot be effective because the Bible says if you're spiritually minded, then you're not earthly good. You can't help anybody. So we decided to just change some things and talk about relationships, because that's what is important in my life at present, you know, because I've been divorced and all these things. And so that's how the concept came about. And it's actually more fun because it's real. It's not, you know, you want to tickle someone's ears or you're looking for followers. That's not the idea. The idea is to actually help for real and speak about things honestly and openly and not try to look a certain way, you know. So that's how it came about.
It's probably the realest conversations I've seen from Christians I think I've ever experienced in a long time. We send our hellos to Kim, and you also have another co-host now, Felicia, right?
Yes. She is we needed Felicia because Kim and I's personalities are different. We needed somebody that plays devil's advocate. So she's a wonderful addition. Yeah,
she is. Now, you're also a co-author of your book, God's Grace and Affirmations. Are there any plans for you to write another book?
I actually completed my second book, and it's getting printed currently. It's actually a journal and diary series. It's called the Truth series, and what that is, like, I'll talk about life experiences, and then I'll ask the reader, well, how do you relate to this? So there'll be scriptures in there, but real life things, application, and then also a place for somebody to jot their thoughts down. And I called it the Truth series because when I really was honest with myself, that's when I started healing. Because you look at yourself in the mirror, right? Like, you, the person that has the thoughts at night when you go to sleep, nobody else. You can front for everybody else, but not for yourself. And so that's where the concept came, the Truth series. So that's actually very personal, and it was awesome to write.
Wow. Well, I know that's going to be a mammoth of a book, just like your last one is. And I look forward to seeing what else you do, because you are a light that needs to be shining.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Grace, for that. And now it is time for us to warm up. Now, this is where we'll start to dig deep on the subject. There was a 2020 gender inequality study conducted by the Pew Research Center, which states that women earn 84% what a man does in the workplace. Now, other studies have shown that Black women earn less than that of their white women counterparts. So less than that 84% is what Black women earn. So when you hear stats like these, ladies, how supported do you feel by men in changing the status quo? And we will start with you this time, Grace.
You know, when I hear stuff like that, and also I have to say this, I was born in South Africa, right? So the way I view men and women relationships is different from people that were raised here, because I was raised in a very, very traditional household. But at the same time, African women are taught like you are submissive to your husband, but you also have to be educated and all those things, right? So when I hear 84%, it pisses me off, because I know what I have, my intelligence, my smarts, all those things. And I think that it's not fair. But that is the world we live in, okay? So I could do two things. I can be pissed off, or I can do something to make sure that I don't stay in that 84%. Because I can't control what everybody else does, but only what I do and how I move forward, how I raise my girls. You know, because I may not be able to change it for myself, but I can teach my girls that you have your voice. When you stand in your truth, you stand in your power, all these things. But this shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, because it's unfair.
Sure.
And then being raised in apartheid, right? So I grew up in apartheid South Africa, where we were segregated. So it's even on a deeper level, right? Women being mistreated. Then I grew up in an Islamic household. So women are like second-class citizens, right? So there's all these things. And so like that, you can either be bitter or you can be better. And that's the choice I made to do, because I'm in America now. I don't have to take all those things I was taught and use it for my life. I can combine it with, you know, being in America, right? And create a balance. Again, I'm all about balance. So that's what I decided to do for myself and my girls. Yeah. And it's not cool. So I teach my son the same thing. But to be honest, this has been going on for longer than all of us sitting here. And the question is, well, what can we do, really? Is it going to change? And if so, how?
Right.
Because burning your bras ain't going to cut it. You know.
Wow. Powerful answer, Grace. Wow. And I do agree with you. Yeah, this has been going on long enough, and the change is just too slow in coming. VJ?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I will say that, especially when you work in certain areas, like we'll say STEMs and sciences, that is a particularly large gap, and Black women statistically fall at the very bottom of these statistics, along with Latinx women as well. But I will say, I think a lot of it also, if we can get into the gender portion of it, when you look at a lot of these companies and the people that are doing hiring, the people that are in positions to do hiring and make decisions about salary are typically white men. So what happens is that not only do you have people that don't look like you who are in charge of your salary, but you also are looking for white women to be allies, or Black men to be allies, or other people in your workplace to be allies to you in discussions about salary. But I don't know if anybody else has had this issue, but I think for me, I'm 36. And so for most of my working life, you're taught that it's rude or that it's uncouth to have discussions about salary. And the only way we're going to fix things is to have those discussions. But what I see is that women have those discussions with each other when we need to be having them with the men in the workplace, so that they can be better allies and advocates for us. Because unfortunately, a lot of times, not all men, but there are certain men who hear it coming from my mouth and it's nothing. And then if we slide a man in front of me and he says the same thing, they're like, oh, okay, dog, yeah, I get it. Okay, bro, yeah. Dap him up. And then it's like, okay, yeah, we can do that. And so, I mean, it's unfortunate, but if we're really looking for change, like Grace said, we're the bra burning and, you know, crying and begging and marching in the streets is not going to do anything. But finding proactive ways to have the people that we work with and are in positions of power to become better allies empowers us to bring everybody up with us. So we can't just have these conversations among black women about salary. We need to have those conversations with people that can actually help us, who have, as shitty and as unfortunate as it sounds, more power in the workplace than maybe Black women have.
Correct. Right.
Wow. Yeah. And I had a conversation with my wife about that just yesterday. And here she is, an entrepreneur. She's in government, and she mentions something. It's not mentioned, but a guy politician mentions it, and everybody else is on the idea. And I'm thinking to myself, that's just absolutely foul and wrong. Absolutely foul. Stephanie?
So this is the funniest thing about this conversation, because in my day job, I do HR.
I feel
on the recruiting
sorry for
side.
you. Oh my god.
So this is such a fun conversation because it's the 84%, but they're just like women in general. It's like
Right.
the demographic within women that make the most is actually Asian women.
Right.
They make the most. It's like we are closer to the bottom. I think Latinx women are below us, and I think Indigenous women are below us as well.
Right.
So the other problem is that you want to add the intersection of race and maybe ethnicity, and then people get really quiet. They're like, they don't want to have a conversation about that. Because when we talk about women and wanting to move up the ladder, there are some men, and I'll use the same terminology VJ said, not all men. There are some men who look at women who want to climb the ladder. That kind of stamina is a masculine trait, because wanting a job or wanting a career, wanting to get to the next step, oh, that's a man thing. That's a masculine thing. You're very masculine if you want to be in charge at work. I'm like, I could just be an adult. And the other thing about it, when we think about women going up for positions, and we just be very honest for anybody who didn't know it, most Black women, when they are applying to positions, they're usually overqualified for the position that they are applying for, because people will not give them that shot, because we as a demographic don't go into a job with the we don't walk in like mediocre white men. We do not walk in like that. It's like, oh girl, let me just pluck. Even though I am qualified for this senior level, I'm not. I'm going to go apply for the junior level, and they're usually overqualified for that. It's like, we're usually overqualified for what we're in. So if you see a Black woman in a position, please know they're usually overqualified for it. But because you may look at our race, you may look at our name, may look at, here's another one, the zip code on my resume. You're like, oh, that's where she's from? Yeah, no. It's like, yeah. So it's a lot of different things happening at the same time, because most Black women are overqualified in any position that they're in.
Agreed. 100% agreed. And I've had that conversation with my wife too. Yes. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous with the hurdles that Joel have to climb and hurdle and jump over just to get a slice of what others who you're much more qualified than they easily get. Yeah. It's horrible. Gentlemen, in what ways we as men can be better advocates and allies to the women as they continue to fight for equality? Terry, you first.
I think that with men, we have to, first of all, stop punking out, right? So a lot of men don't want to have that conversation because they don't want to deal with it. Because some men, not all men, some men are just about themselves. They really don't care about the next person or the next woman or whatever. I think that in order for us to have that conversation and be a better ally, we have to step up and say, okay, this queen's being treated wrong. We need to fix her salary. We need to do whatever. But we first have to get a grip on ourselves, because we don't. I'll be one, and I'll admit that I was one of those guys. I would shy away from a conversation like that. I would be like, I don't want to have a conversation. And I could see a woman being treated wrong, especially with her salary, especially work conditions, whatever, and I just would shy away from it. But in my growing up, though, it's like, no, we're not going. What we're not going to do is, and so we have the conversation. But we first have to get a grip on ourselves and be able to say, okay, this is wrong. We have to first see the issue before we can fix it.
Yeah. And we have to recognize there is one. I agree with that. Wise?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared. But it's like Terry said, we really do have to start supporting our women more. I'm blessed that my wife, she's very business savvy. She's the brains of the organization. So in that regard, I'm blessed. But it's also, I'm very supportive of what she does, and that's something that we as men, we get intimidated when we see our women doing well, because we're afraid that they're going to surpass us, when that's not the case. I'm saying
No.
if we help our women build and grow, I'm saying what's wrong with that? With us being the support, there's nothing wrong with men being the support and helping our women grow, because it's only going to benefit us in the long run. Because it's us. It's not me and her. It's us.
Right.
Mhm.
Agreed. And normally, those women who do achieve that and they see us being supportive, they're willing, more than willing actually, to say, come along with this. They're more than willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kev?
Oh, first of all, to even start this off, I would first like to say we got to change our way of thinking as men. The old days are long gone. Here we are. The women are getting their voices. Those that have never been heard finally being heard. We as men, we got to start supporting the women. Second of all, me being a dad of girls, I mean, and including my goddaughter, I want the best for mine. So why not have the best for the ones that are here now? Starting now, let's start changing the mindset going around. If we don't change that mindset, it's going to continue with our kids. Terry, you have a daughter. Wise, I don't know if you have. Cole, I don't know if you have any. But if we want the best for our kids, why not start now? Why don't we start doing the groundbreaking now and looking forward to their future?
Yeah.
You know, because here we are in this century, and yet a lot of women still can't even have their voice put out in the workforce. And to be honest, that's some BS. Like I my wife at one point was making more money than me, and some men would turn their nose upside down at that. Like, okay, and she's helping me build this castle.
Man.
So why not look forward to that? And I want my kids to grow up knowing they got someone that has their back. Their dad is one, but as a human being, like women are not being treated as human beings when it comes to the workforce.
Yeah.
They're looked at as aliens. Like, why is she above me? Well, maybe she's more qualified than you, dummy. Have you ever thought about that? You know, so
I can guarantee you they haven't.
No, they don't. And I guarantee I could tell
I
you
wanna-
from that standpoint, I can literally guarantee you there's quite a few of them with no sense of no brain function to even say, hey, yeah, she's more qualified than me. You know, might want to pull up her resume and clown him for a second, because a lot of these dummies are out here doing stuff that women would do the job way better than them.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. Yes, when especially, and I know she's seen it in the HR department. So when she said HR, I was like, man, she's got oversight on this. So
if I could drop this off, Cole, before we move on to the next one. Listen, fellas, if we change our mindsets and stop worrying about whether they surpass us or not, let's grow together. That way, we don't have to worry what we bring to the table. If we support each other, we can bring the table. You feel me? Like, why we
drop one of clues bombs for them?
Let's start supporting. Quit it.
Yeah,
let's quit it. Get out of that toxic masculinity we've been running in for years. Stop that. You know what I'm saying? Let's support our women.
Yeah,
we talk about that on our show, Terry. Like, yes, there's times that we go 2:30 Central Standard Time, Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast. Just saying, you know, we drop some knowledge on some of these men, because like the show it's about knuckleheads. We're no longer knuckleheads. We're trying to teach your future not to be knuckleheads. Exactly. So why not, jump into that conversation and have this conversation with, because like my pastor says, if it's comfortable, if you're comfortable with having that conversation, you're not having a conversation. You got to make it uncomfortable so people can actually see what's really going on behind closed doors. So got to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And communication is the key.
Exactly.
Watch the dough.
Yeah. And I think it is up to the men to actually engender having that happen, open that door, and not just pay lip service to, whatever you say. No, listen to what listen to what these women are saying, because there are obstacles that they have to climb over that we don't even think about. And if we start with being empathetic to women, I think this would maybe not be over, but I think we would get a lot closer.
We'll make some headway for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wonderful topic. All right. So yeah, we just warmed it up. When we returned, we are going to the lead-in, and
Oh boy.
I think it's going to get even more intense.
Oh.
Back after this. This is Revelations, the panel. The conversation has just warmed up. We'll be right back with more Revelations, the panel. This is a BS3 Network presentation. Politics.
They'll write the law, but they'll enforce it differently. Is that going to apply both ways?
Religion.
God never said that we can't reason together. Matter of fact, he said, let us sit and reason together.
Relationship.
I believe that everybody wants and needs somebody.
From a man's perspective.
They say, girls, if I put some polish on that and get him to buy some different clothes, girl, he could be a winner chicken dinner.
Join the thought engineer.
There's nothing wrong with me developing my piece and you developing your piece, but understand the goal is to come together.
And comedian John Yogi.
Negro, I don't need you putting on no chapstick up there in the pulpit. You do that over there in your chair.
Get ready for Live every Monday at 7 p.m. Central. There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. 4 men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Dog, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where H-Rap B always predicts,
if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
This is all docked up.
Chris. Listen, I gotta go to work, Jay. I cannot take a shot every time we say enemies. Very jealous. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. VJ.
So he flies her out. She says, "Thank you. That was very kind of you." Like, Pernilla's not starstruck. She was like, "Yeah, you ought to if you want me to come." I wasn't gonna put the bill.
Heroes.
He literally threatened her. His message says, "I see you blocking me on WhatsApp. I don't know why, but this is not gonna turn out good for you. Because I blocked you on WhatsApp? You threatened me and my mama?"
Welcome back to Revelations, the panel, as we continue to battle the sexist discussion. And as we had the discussion back in the green room, VJ, that was a surprise I was talking about. All right, so now I've known you for a while, about what, 6 years, I think.
Just about, yeah.
And and you continuously surprise me with your depth of content and your intelligence. So tell us more about All Docked Up and your rapport with Chris and Penrose.
Well, I guess I met Chris and Penrose much in the same way I met you, just kind of online and having different conversations. And Chris and I, she, tweeted, she was like, "I have an idea for a podcast. I want to review documentaries." And I am obsessed with documentaries. Anyone knows me, I watch documentary about anything. Love them. I'm also like super into museums. That has always been like my thing. My dad was the same way, so that was just kind of our thing growing up, just like kind of watching things, talking about them. And so I think that's always stuck with me. And so when she was saying we need a third person, I was like, Penrose would be perfect for this because he's just a clown, but he's very, very intelligent and very intuitive about things, but it's the right balance. So we really just kind of watch documentaries, give our discussions and our 2 cents about them, but I just really kind of enjoy it because I get to do one of my favorite things, right? With two of my favorite people. So
yeah. And the rapport that you three have is absolutely off the charts. I love how you all interact with each other. I can tell it's a siblinghood, obviously, with the 3 of you.
It is, and we always joke that we live in 3 different places, but we're all originally from the Midwest. So we always joke that it's just kind of this Midwest sensibility with us, and that's why we're able to kind of connect on things.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, along with your true crime story series, Murder Vee Wrote, shout out to the late Angela Lansbury, you also do crafts of all kinds. And let me see if I got this correct. Did it start with scented candles or scented wax? Is that correct?
Yeah, I make wax melts and I make car air freshies, and that kind of ballooned over the course of the past 2 years into many other things, like this sweatshirt.
Hey.
Cool. So my and this cup that I made for myself recently. So yeah, a multitude of things. I make sports tumblers. That's been the orders of lately. So it's just kind of, I make scented room sprays. So it just kind of has ballooned into this whole craft business.
Jack of all trades, okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
Need me a Kansas City Chiefs tumbler, please.
Yeah. VJ.
I'm actually working on one for somebody now. So
yeah.
Don't do it for him.
Yeah. She's very creative. Yeah. Check out Handmade by VJ. I will have the link in the show notes / description box, so you will get to sample her store and see all the goodies that she does provide. Oh, and I forgot. Tell Q I say hello.
I will.
It's been a minute since I
will.
talked to that brother.
We're trying to find a time to get back to recording that too, but he actually took a new job recently and is in Austin right now. So
okay.
He over here by me.
He's fancy. He works for Samsung now. So we're trying to figure it out.
Terry.
What?
Terry.
I used to work at Samsung too, so I know.
I figured Q was going to have one of those jobs. That does not surprise me at all.
No. He had been looking for something different, and I'm very glad that he found it. So we've just kind of been figuring out a time that we can get back together and get back to our original show.
Yeah, I do miss chopping up with Q, but I know things happen and life happens. But I'm glad that you two are still your brother and sister tandem as you've always been. I'm glad everything is good.
He's good.
Well, it was good to catch up with you, VJ. All right. Well, now it is time for the lead-in. Now, here is where we will get to the heart of the matter. Now, I recently read a Madame Noir article entitled "How I Came to Accept That All Men Are Dogs."
Oh.
Now, the writer, even though she loves men, or she professes that she does, claims that none of them can be trusted. Now, ladies, in relationship with men, how does bitterness bleed into the truth of such a statement? And VJ, I will start with you.
Oh, the glove's coming off today.
Don't start with me because she sounds crazy. Don't start over here. Wait a minute. No, but it is very easy when you have had somebody hurt you in a way that you do not think you can come back from, to let that bitterness and hurt bleed into everything else that you do. And I was married for a short time in the blip, I guess, of my entire life, but we got divorced. But that was a very difficult time for me because I felt like I wasn't supported. I felt like I was part of the failure of my marriage. And so I had a very difficult time dating after that because I was very mistrustful of people. I was very mistrustful of their motives. take what hurt you from that prior situation and then you project it onto other people. They say hurt people hurt people, right? And so I had to spend a lot of time in therapy unpacking why I felt that way and working on becoming a whole person for myself. And I think what a lot of people do is they have somebody hurt them. And we are in a culture where they tell you, oh, well, there's plenty of fish in the sea and just go out and find somebody else. And it is okay to evaluate what went wrong in your relationship and what part you did or didn't have in that, and find ways to, one, extend grace to that person so that you're able to forgive them and then forgive yourself and move forward. But until you're able to do that bit of forgiveness on both ends, it's never going to work. You're always going to be bitter about something. And you have to learn to just let that hurt go and forgive those feelings, because it is okay to feel them, but it's not okay to project them onto somebody else and not give them a fair shot.
That is awesome. That's an awesome answer. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, you see, this is why I call her a sister that I wish I had when I was growing up.
Yeah.
that wisdom, the fact she loves sports, the fact she has a great sense of humor. Yeah, I would love to have that growing up. It's Stephanie.
Whew. Yeah,
Let it out.
Not for her either, because Tony.
Take your time, sister.
Look, the floor is yours, Stephanie.
Okay. So here's the thing about bitterness is that I can recognize it because it took me a very long time to work through it. Again, I'm somebody who also has gone to therapy, and bitterness is one. It really is a motherfucker. It really is.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, especially, and I guess for me, this is the lens I'm going to say as a Black woman, for some odd reason, pain and trauma is supposed to be part of our story. So if you're like, if it happens to you, it's like, oh, well, that's what's supposed to happen to you. I mean, you're not wanted. You're at the low in the totem pole. You should be happy somebody even want to like share your bed or even be in the same place as you. So the thing about it is, I've noticed that some women are bitter because they have never gone through and healed from it. And then some women are bitter because someone is always telling them to shut the fuck up and just accept that's just your lot in life. And that is not pain and trauma and harm. It should never, ever be part of any Black woman's DNA. But that is what we are told because we're not wanted. So it's like, you should be so lucky that somebody, well, at least you got a man. He a good man, Savannah. It's like, how many women have been told that? He a good man. He cheats on his wife. But I mean, he has a job. I have a job. How many men have told me I'm a good man? What makes you a good man? Right. It's like, what makes you a good man? I have a job. I have my own place. I have a car. Baby, I have all of those.
Right.
Does that make me a good man?
Right.
That makes you a good man.
Should have told him, why don't you go date that good man?
It's like, well, honey, where the women at? So I can be y'all good man. Okay? Because apparently that's all I need is a job, my own car, and a place to live. That's all being a fucking adult.
Hell.
And it's like the thing about it is, and also it's kind of like another part of it, you can be Black, you can be crazy. You can't be Black and crazy. And somehow mental health issues or even being sad is crazy. And you can't do that. You better go out there, go get some job, go lay up under some man, get on top of some man, go out and like go get your hair done, get your hair off, do something, but don't heal. And then you just hold on to it.
Right.
Because you don't heal from it. It's like, baby, it's like when stuff like you get cut, it hurts a little bit before it actually starts to crust over and heal. But you got to let yourself heal. And so many women and men do not heal because we're told like, girl, Black and crazy, Black or not Black and. Okay, it's like, yeah, I pick one, but it's like, baby, there's so many unhealed people in our community that don't get things because you don't want the stigma. I'm like, oh, if I go see a therapist, I'm crazy. No, you're smart. You're crazy not to get a therapist.
Yeah, you're working through your issues doing that. Yeah. And the funny thing about that analogy that you just put forth, Stephanie, is that emotionally, if you are to just simply just lash out, you're basically doing the emotional equivalent to peeling the scab off of the healing wound.
Yep. It's bleeding all over everybody.
And it bleeds all over again. Right. And if you don't take the time to heal, you're going to keep peeling that scab back and you're going to keep being hurt. Yeah. And you're going to keep inviting the pain that you receive and residual pain on top of it.
Right.
Yeah. Grace?
Okay, so sis who wrote All Men Are Dogs, I call her a BB. That's a bitter bitch. Because, no. Okay.
I love her so much. Because, yeah.
Because in life, there's no perfect person.
Turn
There's
off
no
my camera real quick.
I mean, she needs to go to therapy. And I'm all about that because this is like my favorite topic, okay? I'm all about therapy, okay? She's not healed. So she's walking around bleeding. Now, I don't know if she's got children, but I have a son, right? So when I got divorced, I was like, F ninjas, okay? That was my motto. And then one day I'm like looking at my son and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm teaching my son that his mother hates men and I don't respect men. So he's going to be a man one day. He's going to think that I hate him. So I was like, no, baby, go. Let me stop this. I stopped talking bad about my ex. I stopped saying, playing Doja Cat, you know, niggas ain't right. I don't even know that song.
Not Doja
That was
Cat.
my song.
I love this way too much.
So I had to stop doing that. But one of the things that really, really helped me was this. If I was not going to heal, two things are going to happen, right? I was subcontracting power. That means I'm saying to my ex, oh, you still have power over me. Because I'm mistreating not only my son, because subconsciously I'm teaching him that women don't respect men. You see, the thing is this, we teach our daughters that men supposed to respect them a certain way, but we don't teach our sons, hey, you also need respect from, you know, a woman as well. We don't do that. It's very unfair and unbalanced. And listen, I'm team woman because I am a woman, but I have to be honest. We don't teach our sons that or our daughters that. We just, you know, take. And I'm not about that. But anyway, let me get back on topic. So when this woman that wrote this book, I feel sorry for her. I absolutely, because she has a following, all these young girls and feminists, which I feel it's okay to be a strong woman. But when you start calling yourself a feminist, now you're going into witchcraft, which is rebellion, because you're saying, I don't need no man. I need a man, okay? And that's God's design, okay? God created woman from man. It is his design. I'm not going against that. But
vice versa.
This unhealed thing, and you know, wearing it like it's a badge of honor to mistreat people and talk trash because you're unhealed, that's not acceptable. Go and turn inwardly to yourself. Ask yourself, okay, why does this man make me feel this way? It's not about him. I can't control anybody else. Why am I responding this way? What am I doing? Because at the end of the day, I'm giving you power because now I'm just like acting crazy because you said something. No. So I don't give people power. If something's wrong, if you make me feel some type of way, I'm gonna get real quiet and figure out the root. What is the root, Rabia? Why are you feeling like this? And I work from the inside out. And for me, it has been very effective since I've been divorced, since I've been navigating in the singleness and trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like, who I really am. Even though I'm like 37 for the past 9 years.
You've been what for the last what?
No.
I'm just saying. So, a girl needs some help. She needs to come on this panel. We can help her.
So can I just add one more thing?
Please, Stephanie.
I think because one, that is completely it. Anybody who's gone to therapy knows you are not in therapy to change other people. You are going to change how you react to other people. I think the other thing about it is this woman sounds like she has been very hurt because let's be very clear. Some men can actually smell desperation and weakness on you and unhealed, and they will prey on her. So now we're listening to someone who's like, I'm so bitter because she's gotten both of that. She is not unhealed from being hurt, and then people are literally preying on you. It's like, oh, I can smell it on you. And it's like coming after her. And so it's kind of like when it's told like, well, that's just supposed to be part of your life because you're a Black woman. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not. It's not supposed to be that way. But that's what we keep passing down as some weird rite of passage throughout generations, where it's like trauma got to be a part of your part of your story, and it don't.
It's not part of anyone's. I mean, and that's the unfortunate thing about a lot of relationships. We're taught that if you know that there should be some type of struggle, right? Like,
love.
Yeah, there has to be some type of struggle involved in somebody loving you. And I don't understand why we aren't teaching our children, our boys and girls, or even these younger 20 somethings, that love is not supposed to be that way. Nobody should be telling you that they love you and that you are struggling and fighting and not communicating. That's not love. I don't you call it whatever you want to, but that is not a person loving you in any real way. Say whatever they want to, but that's just not what it is.
It's not even close to love. No,
it's not, and it's unfortunate, and I think it warps certainly these, a sense of expectations when it comes to dealing with people, and it puts you in a place, like you said, like whoever wrote the book, she needs real help and guidance. And so and if you come away and you have the mindset that every man is a dog, then that means you have either picked a very specific type of man. Because let's call a spade here. People always get mad when you say we pick better men. And I'm not saying that sometimes people don't deceive you, but certainly there, like you said, there are certain things that you exude when you're hurt or bitter or angry that people pick up on. Like Steph said, that people pick up on that. And then you're exuding that, and then you're going out and seeking a certain type of relationship with toxicity and anger and yelling because you've been taught that is what love is, then it's always going to be bad. You're always going to be bitter. Men are always going to be dogs because you are cyclically searching for that same type of pattern in relationship over and over.
Right. Yeah, you're looking for that dog. You're supposed to get him. That's what you're looking for. You don't get him every time, I promise.
Yeah.
I agree with what Stephanie said, because I know when you're unhealed, you attract the same type of man. It's just a spiritual thing. You will attract that same thing. They just look different, but they, like, for example, if you are married to a narcissist, if you remain unhealed, you're going to continuously attract narcissists. And let me tell you guys something. I have found that butterflies is actually anxiety. So if you meet somebody and you're like, oh, it's butterflies, I must be attracted. No, baby, go check yourself. That's anxiety. Because when somebody it brings calmness and you're like, oh, he's so boring. No, he ain't boring. It's your ass. You need to figure out what the hell's wrong with you.
I'll tell you I love Grace right now.
It's your ass. Your person is boring and they're not boring. You just want somebody to smack you in the face. And it's like, no. It's boring. They're just like dragging you across the country by your hair.
Wow.
Is that what we want?
And in the last few minutes, you have now realized why I have chosen these three women.
Yeah, I love it. You know what?
Wisdom,
hell of a job
all across the board with all of them. Yes,
hell of a job.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And thank you, Grace. Now I have strobe lights and cows all in my brain. I'm hearing Doja Cat in it.
Oh, that's Doja Cat in that.
Thank you.
But real quick, Cole,
sir,
if I could jump on what Grace just said about the healing and they going out looking for the same thing and all that. The struggle that I had personally, me, Terry, was that I was looking for that same no good or the gullible woman because it was just easy. It's easy. I know what to expect. But what I found out in my process of growing up and becoming a man is that I heard Trent Shelton say this years ago, and it's been one of those things that stuck with me. And he said, "You cannot heal in the same place you got cut, no matter where the cut came from."
Come on,
right? So if you find the same, it could be 20 women that you look for and found. You can't heal in the same place. If it's the same thing you're getting, how are you healing, right? So that was my struggle in that, and I looked and searched for years until I saw a therapist and was like, "This is what's going on."
Therapy is life.
Yeah, therapy is life.
Yeah.
I've never been to therapy, but I can guarantee you, like, I actually speaking with tons of people and actually listening to people on podcasts that I listen to. I hear nothing but good things about therapy, and even though I feel like I don't need it, I want to go because everybody has a sense of everybody's broken somewhere.
Yeah.
And it can be fixed.
You got to think about it. Being in Black and Brown community, going to therapy, people already label,
terrible
judging. I'm saying
God said it the best.
They start saying, "Oh, you crazy? Why you going to see a therapist?" They don't.
But they're suffering. They're saying you crazy, yet they're suffering.
Especially in the Latino community, like me being half Mexican, I you know what?
Not are you?
But in the Latino community, when people go to therapy, they exactly what Wyatt said is you get that, people are talking, oh, you must be nuts.
Are you hearing voices?
Yeah, things. It don't necessarily mean you doing all those things. You just want some clarity in life. And for that lady that wrote that book real quick,
she needs it.
She's broken. She's broken. She's never been put back together. She's had nothing but bad men. And in the words of Cat Williams, she attracting ain't shit niggas. And attracting ain't shit niggas with JJ. Exactly. So.
Well, yeah, it's funny because when VJ was talking, I was thinking about another Cat Williams joke where he says, "Yeah, I keep hearing women saying, yeah, all the men I chose are nothing." He says, "No. All the men that you chose ain't nothing."
I'm tired that stereotype. I don't know if you guys growing up when I was young, I used to hear a lot of songs about ain't shit, men ain't shit, this and that and the third.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that
in a minute. I always had that in my head. I'm like, why?
Oh, we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Let's get into it.
In fact, we're gonna talk about it now. Now, you've heard those phrases. Thank you. All men are nothing. All men are dogs. All those phrases directed toward you.
Look at TLC Scrubs.
Right.
Fact.
Now,
but they were filing bankruptcy. Come on now.
Well, they said they didn't want no Scrubs. They didn't say they didn't want no repo men. But anyway,
that's the point. They don't want Scrubs because they need somebody with money. They're in bankruptcy. Like I can't have you be poor with me, and I want to have money.
Like Mary said, I can do bad all by myself.
But unfortunately, in the case of Late Left Eye, she burnt down the house of a man who had a lot of money. But
Lisa done burnt the house down.
But I digress. So
a little bit of contradiction.
When you hear all of those things, the all men are dogs, all men are nothing, that all men simply just can't cope with a strong woman. How did it make you feel as a man to hear these disparaging generalizations? Okay, I'm sorry. I know, Terry, I have to break it down for you. So I will Terry-ize the question.
Oh.
When Candace Owens gaslights black people, how do you feel?
Oh, Lord Jesus.
You did not say Terry eyes, of course. Oh, you know what? Okay. Let me.
Kevin, I will start with you.
Yeah, please start with Kevin.
Okay. All right. First of all, that was a classic move, Cole. I appreciate that. I'm putting that on the show Sunday. That's one on the show. Somebody clip that and send that to me.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Okay, before you answer that, it's an inside joke because Terry always clowns me on using big words. So,
yeah, I do.
Yeah, so it's basically it's an attack toward that. I'm sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
Wow,
it's fine. Hey, but as far as Candace Owens goes, that woman there, she got some serious issues. She needs to work on herself. She needs therapy. Second of all, hearing that phrase, like when you hear that phrase growing up, and it's kind of like what Grace said. She has a son. She wanted to change that, right? Because she has a son. But growing up, when I heard it, you start to hear it and you start to be like, well, shit, maybe I ain't shit as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid. So, but I was fortunate. My dad wasn't around, but I was fortunate to have a brother that helped raise me to make sure that I knew my direction on how to be around women. My brother was 13 years older than me. He helped raise me. He put me in sports. He taught me discipline. He gave me the book of life. So besides the Bible that I have now, I have my brother to thank, and it became part of how I treat my marriage now. You know, you won't dare hear my woman say men ain't shit. She probably had men that ain't shit previous before me, and I thank them because I know how to treat my woman and I know how to keep her happy. So when I hear that phrase, I hear bullshit, and I call bullshit because just because you have men that ain't shit, why don't you change the narrative on that? and find you a man that is worth shit. Find you a man that fits your future. I always tell my friends, right? My friends that get on Facebook, they love to put their story on Facebook. They put their whole life, nothing but negative stuff about men. Oh, I got cheated on and this and that. Well, I always tell my friends that always come to me for advice. Do you see yourself with this man in the future? Does he have a future with you? Because if not, then you fucking with an ain't shit nigga. You fucking with someone that don't fit your course in life. How do you feel about this man 5 years from now? If you have a if and a but about it, then back the hell out. There's an alt control delete. Get out of that. So I those women that go with that narrative of ain't shit niggas, that was a 90s phrase, by the way. And we in 2022. I'm gonna need you to update your profile.
And they said that long before then too.
Yeah. Oh, right. So
you need to go ahead and log out.
Exactly.
In fact, I heard a lot of that 2 decades prior. So yeah, a lot of that.
Can I just need them to get some help, some therapy, something.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody. Use your words, as they used to say when I was little. Use your words.
Right.
Use your words. I like that. Terry.
Okay. When I heard the phrase "men ain't shit," as a youngin, I didn't have a thought about it either way because I was a youngin, right? When I became a young man, though, my first marriage at 19. I've been married 3 times, y'all. So don't judge. I'm just saying so.
Well, okay.
I started to realize. I started to realize as I was becoming a man that I wasn't shit. That's what that was. I mean, there is a level of truth to that statement. But when people use that statement, and using that as in a negative tone, then that's when it gets tricky and people sound bitter and all that good stuff. But there are some men out here that are walking around and they really ain't shit. I mean, it's a true statement. As a man, we don't want to hear it because we have a stinky ass thing called pride, and we don't want to hear that we ain't shit. Because what does that do as a man? That causes us to look in the mirror and be like, maybe I ain't. Maybe there's a level of men. There's a, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it took me. And when I finally looked in that mirror and said, "Damn, Terry, you fucked up. Well, you fucked up. Like I was a liar, cheater, manipulator. I was all of that." And we had to come to that realization. Some men, because of their pride, don't want to hear that they ain't shit. They want to come into it, until they, on their own. But when someone says that to them, it tears their ego apart. They don't want to hear that. Who would you tell me I ain't shit? I'm all that. And a bag of chips and collard greens and all that. I'm all that.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Potatoes, tomatoes, yams, lambs, hogs.
But if men are truthful with themselves, that particular statement should not. I don't find it offensive because I was at one point not shit. That was me. And that's just Terry talking.
Bone Crusher, Doja Cat, now Shirley Caesar. Okay, I did not think I was going to think of all these things.
I'm glad you got the running list because I was sitting here with the list like,
yeah.
No, but
next up.
but what you said, Terry. The one thing I've always appreciated about you, other than your humor, is the fact that you are vulnerable, which is a trait that, and I believe these women will agree with me when I say this. It's a trait that most men do not want to employ. And the fact that you were vulnerable enough to say, "Man, these old rags suck. I'm going to strip these off and put new rags on me."
Yeah, man.
Admirable of you to do.
Yeah.
Wise?
Well, me being raised by 2 strong Puerto Rican women.
Ooh, here we go. Yes.
So it's for me. It's I got nothing but love for women, and I respect them and all that. But I've never really had the experience where chicks be like, "You ain't shit," because I wasn't raised that way. I'm saying I was raised to respect women. I've never raised my hand to a woman. None of that. That's not me. That's not in my nature because I see my mom and my sister, and I would never allow that to happen to them. So, yeah, my brothers are dogs. I ain't gonna lie. They all got multiple baby mamas. Saying me, I just wasn't built that way. I wasn't made that way. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to respect women. And so, yeah, when I was younger, I had my phases where you still learning about relationships and you do what you do. But as I got older, I realized that's not me. I didn't want to be that player. I didn't want to be out there sleeping around and getting and laying with all these women, because I just felt that I don't know. I just felt that like I would find that woman that would make me happy. And I was blessed to meet my first wife when I was 21. She passed away when I was 31. So saying it took me a while to get back on my feet, but I'm blessed again to find another woman who's very supportive. And to people, I see all these dudes out here cheating on their girls and all that, and I'm thinking, why would I do that? I'm saying, because none of these women can offer me what my wife is offering me. Right. None of them can support me like how she supports me. So for me, I just don't feel. And I seen players. I seen dudes be out there. Oh yeah, and even at work now, dudes be like, yeah, I got slept with this chick. And to them, it's like
it's a game.
Yeah, it's a game. I'm not about playing that game.
Yeah, catch your life, bro. What's this about?
Stephanie.
I appreciate hearing all three of you talk, because something in my mind pricked by what all three of you have said. Not even the same thing, but I find it very interesting is that men don't do this thing to each other where they tell you to like relax your standards and change. Men are encouraged to stay exactly what they want and stay exactly where they are. Women are told, you don't think you're being a little too hard? Girl, you have to soften up a little bit if you want to get a man. Men are not told that. And that's also, when you have male friends who ain't shit, their male friends are not telling them they ain't shit. They're like, oh they'll keep the secret.
They'll excuse it.
Or they won't say it.
They will roll the red carpet and have that be able to continue.
So when you have all these women, I'm sorry, I'm going to just really finish. So you have, as a woman, you either have experienced this where you have been SA'd, you have a friend who was SA'd. Every woman knows, everyone that has even been a victim, and they know somebody who has. Every man said, I don't know any men who do that. He's like, so who do you think is happening to? Because one, men will keep that secret. It's like, oh well, I mean, but then also be like, no, why y'all saying men ain't shit? Can your friends date your sister? No. Why not?
You own to something.
Ding.
See, there's this narrative, right?
There it is.
That we men don't hold each other accountable.
Don't want to hold each other
accountable. Or exactly. So, but if you go on my Facebook, I've lost some friends because I
know you have.
I look. I've been told I have, I have my wife's friend. Oh, do you have a husband? Does your husband have friends? I take that as a compliment. But at the same time, I don't want, like she said, I wouldn't want no one dating my daughter. And I got friends that are out there dogging women on a daily basis. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So there's a pattern. And I always tell my daughter's 17, y'all. Yes. So my daughter, who's 17, she's in high school, and she's about to be 17. Let me say that right. But nonetheless, my daughter Destiny, it scares me to death when she goes to when she starts dating in this world, and I'll give her the whole 9 yards about men, boys at that age, and so forth, because I don't want her to be blindsided about no bullshit. So I'm gonna sit there and tell her, look, these are the steps. This is what I expect. This is what I expect from him, and that respect and accountability has to be there. If that's not it, I don't like him. And she knows if I don't like him, she's gonna tell him, you know what? I'm sorry, I can't do this.
It's not gonna work.
You're gonna have to do this.
It's gonna go.
We can't do this. So
it's not you, it's me.
This narrative that we have, we gotta hold not only our counterparts of accountable for what they do and responsible for what they do. We gotta be able to tell these guys, yo, look,
this just ain't right.
You gotta fix yourself, dude.
Yeah, I'm chin checking dude. I'm
saying, and like she said, I wouldn't want them dating my sister. You know, no, I don't want you. You don't get up out my house.
You can't even be in my circle, buddy. You can't even be in my circle.
So why have those guys? You know, so like she said, we got to change that narrative. That narrative has got to go.
I can
believe me, the dudes at work be like, yo, why don't you come out and hang out? Because I'm not about that life. I'm not about hanging out and partying.
For what?
I've never been.
I'm 46 years old, man. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to do.
Heck, I was that way at 26.
Wasting it.
Get 46. I was that way at 26.
All they focusing is like, oh, I'm gonna go out and bag this. I'm like, yo, I ain't like
what?
Then you wonder why you don't have yourself a good woman.
Yeah, because you ain't nothing.
Because all you attracting is these stunts. Yeah. I'm saying all these chicks that don't be about nothing, ain't trying to help you build nothing. All they want is
and then you want something from that type of woman.
Yeah.
And anger that you can't produce it.
You want to make out how
men can sniff out that. Women could sniff that out. It's like you're only good for one thing, especially if you lead with your money being your personality. I'm like, so that's all I can get good for you. It's like that's the only thing you got is your money. And they're like, why should you like talk to me? I'm like, what have you given her substantially outside of your money to show that you really know something?
They want to be used.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They do.
Like, and that's the thing. It's very off-putting because the stuff they're offering you can do for yourself. I can buy my own purse. I have my own house.
Right.
Like I don't need to be fixed. I set myself up so that I don't need somebody to pay my bills.
Correct.
You know, today some men they want to be used. And I'm sorry, but there's so many old fools out here. It's ridiculous. And
they used to be young fools.
They used to be young.
And the young fools are coming up right behind them. Right.
Oh man, tell me about it.
Yeah.
And no one
you teach you something, sir. You have 4 ex-wives and all this alimony. Get out my face.
Yeah. See, there's a level of trauma. That's even with these old cats that's doing that. There's a level of trauma with these guys because they feel like they've been through so much nonsense and bullshit. They don't. It's easier to just say, "Here, take my money."
Because we haven't. It boils down to seeking that help. They haven't been to therapy. A lot of people, a lot of black and brown people in the community in the community don't seek the help because again, they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be labeled. So how do you expect to be fixed if you're not willing to go seek the help?
Exactly. That's the problem right there.
Man, you're speaking volumes now.
The reason is they don't think they need the help because they don't see the help.
It's everybody else.
I'm looking at you, Kanye Omari West. Okay. The chat. BJ BSC never says he loves a sweater. Thank you. I'm glad that you like the beats that are cold. CJ, how you doing, brother? One half of the Handmade Podcast. You see them every Thursday at 7 Central. BS3 says Stephanie, speak it. Yeah, she's awesome. He also says sometimes we gotta talk things out. Right. He also says TLC Scrubs, and they was broke. And he also said, he said, didn't know your story. Why? It's great to hear. Respect. Yeah,
and that's a beautiful thing to see the growth.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I just wanted to say this about therapy before we move on. I know we're on time.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people that you cannot look at therapy as a function of something being wrong with you, right? Because I think even with black and brown people, we're less likely to go to the doctor, right? Like you about to keel over from a heart attack at 40 and you haven't been to see, you don't have a general practitioner, don't have a doctor, a dentist, nothing. Just don't go to the doctor. The therapist is a doctor. It's a doctor. So if you are going to get regular checkups about your body health, it's the same thing about your mental health. It's a tune-up. You're not going because something's inherently wrong with you. You don't have to go because something's wrong. You can go because you want better communication skills, because you want to find ways to communicate with your partner and connect better. You just want to be a better person overall that is able to talk to people and deal with, issues that come up in your life or anxiety. I mean, not everything has to be about, and I think people, like you said, it's a label. Black people label it as you have to be crazy instead of I'm going for essentially what is preventative. It's preventative medicine.
Correct.
We're working on these things so I don't have a mental breakdown and, you know, am running around in my underwear down the street at 3 a.m. with a shotgun or something.
Okay.
Lord,
Hold that thought.
See, it's that sense of pride.
Ranting or, you know, trying to sell your shoes at Skechers. Yeah, I'm just saying. Before you have like a serious mental breakdown, it makes sense to go to therapy to work on coping skills and things. There doesn't have to be anything wrong with you.
Right. We have to have that conversation that therapy is a good thing. Like that narrative that goes around, oh, you must be crazy. No, I'm just going to get a peace of mind, maybe.
Yeah, because I need to have help. And I need to make sense of things that don't make sense to me right now. And I think that people don't look at it that way.
They don't, and they should. You're right. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
Well, we will take.
Okay,
we'll take a pause for the cause. We'll come back and we'll talk more about that. You are listening and watching Revelations, the panel. We'll be right back. The conversation has just warmed up. We'll be right back with more Revelations, the panel.
You have to learn to live with yourself before you can make a commitment of yourself to someone else.
When you go to something that's already structured, like the church, I don't need to go in there thinking I'm the pastor. It's like already one set up. You know what I'm saying?
It just had everything. But I learned, you know what I'm saying? Everything I did, I learned from.
So we look forward to seeing you same time, same place. Know that we love you. God loves you more. Continue to stay safe, do the right thing, stay out of trouble.
Conversation that informs a community. Brothers of Legacy. Every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready.
The Lunch Break with AJ, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at noon Central. The Mocha Minutes Podcast. A black person safe space. Well, I'll let Stephanie talk about it further.
You would be a Michael Jai White. I'm sorry. No. I like him. He's so pretty when he don't talk. Would Will Smith, if this was a white comedian, would he went up and slapped him? Would y'all have a problem with it if it was a white comedian doing this? People who say water or wash, I'm like, how did wash get an R in it? Stand up. I don't know why 5 heartbeats just popped in my head. Stand up.
From entertainment to society and culture, that comprises of the Mocha Minutes Podcast, hosted by Stephanie. Welcome back to Revelations, the panel, as the war of men and women continues. And
I need Jeff, my executive producer, man.
Go ahead and hire him. Yeah, just go ahead and be done with it. Yeah.
And yeah, Stephanie, that was a gift to you.
Oh my! I was like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah.
That's a cold production. Yeah, that's a cold production.
It's cold world, baby. It's cold
production. When leave me, we be crying. We started crying when we got ours.
Well, I've always considered you one of my podcast sisters and play cousins. So
thank you, Cole.
You're welcome.
When I seen Eddie Kane, though, I was like, yeah, that's a good one right there.
Let me tell you something.
Now, your show has been, what, 5 years running now?
5 years as of September 17th.
Yeah. Yes. How did congratulations. So how
did I get here?
Yeah. So how did Mocha Minutes become such a labor of love for you?
Oh gosh. I think it literally is because I had one of my very best friends to believe in me, because I started this with her and it was kind of like, had a co-host, and then I'm glad she was brave enough to say, I don't want to do this and you can do it by yourself. And at that moment it was just like, no, I can't. And then I'm here 5 years later like, yes, I can. Because I think it's become a labor of love because of the people that I get to talk to. It's like the people that I've got to meet. And I feel like if I just had stuck with just having my co-host who's my friend, I'm like my friend, it's like, it would have been great. But it also would not have allowed for the growth that I've seen within myself, not even on the show, but off the mic as well. Right. And just being able to grow. And it's kind of like, there's so many more conversations that I'm like, oh, we can still talk about this. It's like, oh, it needs to be talked about. And there's a lot of people I need to brag. One of them is some kid from Chicago. It's getting on my nerves. Because he's just embarrassing us. And he literally has become George Bush because he don't care about black people.
White Lives Matter.
Congrats. You're George Bush.
Yeah, and that's something.
The third. That's the third, ain't it? George Bush the third.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, and it's been a pleasure of mine to join your show more than a couple times.
Thank you, Cole.
Yeah, thank you. And along with that, I hear that you now are a public speaker.
I am. I feel like I just keep going to festivals and speak.
Yeah,
you can always bring me on if you like a speaker, please.
Yeah,
DM me, send me email mochaminutes@gmail.com. Definitely love, because I think a lot of things like it just need to be talked out or just brought to the light. Because a lot of things, even in this conversation, I don't think you'll find one man outside of this panel that will say men are pretty fucked up and they do some fucked up shit and we are not okay. They're like, girl, what you talking about? It's like, oh, you're not ready for that conversation. No, I know.
Well, guaranteed, if you want to feel seen as a black person and you want to laugh at the same time, my girl is the one to give it to you.
Okay, I'm subscribing as soon as I got this show.
I'm following. Yeah, I'm definitely on it.
I appreciate you all.
I'm definitely.
And the fact that I'm here with VJ, I'm just like, I know that face. It's like I know that face, and I'm like, what? Mind you, this is a funny thing about social media. You could talk to people, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know you. I know you too, girl. But we at work. Let's act like we know each other. Like,
oh man.
Okay, well, Zoom over.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the gift that I gave you, and you were well deserving of it, and then some. All right. Well, let's continue the conversation and let's go in the spotlight. Now, here is where we'll get to the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Now, we've already addressed many cancerous statements. You know, all men are dogs is one of them. Another, of course, is you can't turn. Oh, let me do this since you teased me about this in the green room. I will do this here. Quote: You can't turn a hoe into a housewife.
Close quote. Yeah.
Now, along with those ridiculous stereotypical statements, traditional gender roles and the incorrect interpretation of submission also muddying the waters as well. How harmful have stereotypes been in your own personal relationship with the opposite gender? I will start with the gentleman this time first, Terry.
Does he need to terrorize it?
Yeah.
Does he need to terrorize it?
No, I got that one. I got that one. You know, God, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Now, do you? Okay, I've never used that term, but I think it's stupid. I've always used it, even when I was doing my dumb shit. I never used that term, because it's just something toxic about it. It's just like you know, you make spaghetti and you got the greasy bottom of the pan. It's like that. It's like no. I never used it. I might have thought it, but I never said it. I never said it out loud. I never said it to anyone. Has someone said it to me? You can't turn a hoe to a housewife. I was like, you're right. You can't. I've admitted that and said that, but I've never used it toward the opposite gender and somebody I was dating, because it's just no. I've never believed that. I think people can change. People, I mean, hey, shit, I was a hoe. Sure, you know. It's like Usher said, you know, shorty, I don't mind. If you dance on the pole, don't make you a hoe. I'm telling you, I'm just saying that I don't care. You know, everybody can change.
Add that to the list.
But you know, everybody can change. I just never believe that statement. I never said it. It's kind of like fingers on a chalkboard when I hear it. It's like that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. No.
Let's see, Doja Cat. Early Caesar. Kanye West.
I love that. You got a list for him.
Ursher. All right.
Ursher.
Yeah. Good. Wise.
Nah, I don't really use that. To me, again, it's I guess it's the energy you put out there, man. It's what you attract. Is if that's what you like, that's what you're gonna attract. If that's all you're about, is just smashing chicks and all that. That's what you're gonna attract into your life. Now, when you're ready to be a man and step up, and you want that wife in your life, then you're gonna put that energy and that vibe out there, and then that wife is gonna come to you. But if you continue to believe like, oh, you can't make a hoe into a housewife, that's just saying that's what you attract and that's what you want. That's what you enjoying. And then when you get that, you want to make that statement. But dude, you're the one who keep bringing these same type of women into your life. When you're gonna grow up and start chasing real women, start chasing women that want something to build with you, not the ones that listen. There's women out there. Like I said, I was raised by two strong Puerto Rican women. And I have the utmost respect for women. And so, no, I don't use that term, but a lot of guys use it. There's even women that use it against women.
They do.
That's crazy.
So for me, I don't subscribe to that. I felt you attract what you want in this world, and a lot of these dudes, that's what they attract, and then get upset when they find out that's how she is. She's sleeping around or whatever it is. Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing in the relationship?
Right.
Are you sleeping around?
Right.
How do you expect her to be faithful if you out here sleeping around?
You are being a hoe yourself. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Now you care about her body count now?
Yeah.
Right.
We like hoes too. Come on,
like, I don't understand that. Like,
I never.
Man can have a ridiculous body count, but women can't.
Right. I never did either.
I
never did either. I'm like, look, if you want to just slip around and you want to actually call women hoes, but you acting like a hoe yourself, no.
That's fuckboy mentality.
You lose me.
In the words,
you lose me here. You lose me with that.
In the words of J. Cole, you can add this to the list. How is it that you find out when they hoeing, but you recognize you is the hoe? So it comes back full circle.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I was about to say in the words of Jay-Z, I was just effing them girls. I was gonna come right back.
You
That's how many men do think. It's a ridiculous.
Any men that say that they lying. They do have no intention of coming back.
Ridiculous stuff.
Nope.
None. Kev, what's up, brother?
Man, all right. So can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Wise. I love what he said. You put that energy out there, right? And you get back what you put out there. Well, I also think it's the environment. When you're in the wrong environment, right? You're around your boys that go out and they just smashing and dashing, right? You know, you going out, you around men in an environment that, you know, if you want a good woman, put yourself around men that want the same thing. You know, I have friends that do that. I have friends that do that, and I distance myself, right? Because I've always been a family guy my whole life. The one time like I told my wife before, the one time I tried to be a player, it was when outside of my divorce, time from my marriage, when I first got married, when we got divorced, I tried it, for a month, and they didn't work out so well.
It's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of work.
It made you feel uncomfortable.
And I told her this too. It's like having two jobs. Why am I working for free?
Yeah.
So you got to keep up with lies and all that. But going back on the point, no, you can't. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. But yeah, you around that environment. Change your damn environment. Put yourself around good people. And then when you put that, out into the world, that energy out there, you're gonna get what Wise said. You're gonna get that in form. You're gonna get blessed. You're gonna get what God gives you. But if you go out there and you put bullshit out as energy, well, guess what? God is gonna bless you with bullshit.
Wait, you know what they say, right, Kev?
What?
Hoes of a feather
fly together.
So you just gotta.
That's why
you gotta change your environment, man.
That's why.
You have to. It's very important. And again, for us men to not hold each other accountable, that's another disgusting thing. You claim you want this and that and the third. But if I see your Facebook post, I want a good woman, but you out here in real life being a hoe yourself.
I have a friend who does that. I have a friend who does that, who posts stuff on Facebook that women like and stuff like that. Like, they just like, he's a dog. He's a stray dog.
When you have guys,
so why post stuff like that when you're not really about that?
It's sad when you have guys, and this one is way back in the early 90s. When you have guys like DJ Quick write lyrics such as treat you first class just to ride you like coach. That tells you the quality of man that is.
Jesus.
That's a dope line too.
Do not treat a woman like she is trash. And when you got these guys who do that, it infuriates me.
Pimp C said it best.
That's my ass.
Pimp C said it best. Hoes get the most, not the lesser. And when he was writing these lyrics, he wasn't writing lyrics to actually put women down. Top-notch hoes get the most, not the lesser. Now, if you actually break those lyrics down, you in his song, he was actually saying, go if you want dirt, put yourself and build yourself around dirt. But if you want gold, you want that top-notch woman, go out there and find you one. Stop making your damn excuses. He was all I love me some Pimp C, but man, when he was writing some stuff and you actually sit back and listen to it, it makes you it makes you think. Yeah, I'm around some stupid stuff. Let me change this environment of mine. I want to get out this there. I don't want to be around this. I want to be around something real. Put me around real people. Look, this is why Terry, how long we been riding together?
Golly, at least 8 years at least.
It's been a decade.
It's been a decade, has it?
It's been a decade, right? And me and Terry have only known each other because we was in a Facebook group together. And we've been rocking with each other since then. He was out in North Carolina. I've always been here in Texas, but I've always done, I was working even in the oil field. But we always stay connected. But why is that? Now we're on the podcast together. He called me to co-host this podcast. And I'm blessed because I can actually say I got a boy, my boy, thousands of miles away that thinks like me. Because I put myself in an environment. I put myself in that mental state that, hey, I want to surround myself with some real people. I'm not gonna surround myself with no bullshit.
It is like what my father told me, and I'm so glad that I had one that was so responsible and loving to me. He says, son, you are the company you keep.
Facts.
And if you do not remember that, you will be in company that will land you in jail. So put yourself in company that will not put you in those places. You surround yourself with that, you will be in a better situation. But if you're gonna just simply dismiss that, don't be around trash, son, because you shouldn't think of yourself as that.
Don't.
So how harmful have stereotypes been in your own personal relationships with the opposite gender, Grace?
Okay, this statement about you can't turn a hoe into a housewife is toxic. It's just like saying happy wife, happy life. That is a toxic statement. That means as a woman, as a mother, you just an asshole, and so your family's walking on eggshells. It's the same thing. But let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest about this. Hoe can be a housewife. It is just the way it is, right? A man can have several baby mamas, and there's nothing wrong with him. But let a woman have several baby daddies, then she's a hoe. Why? Because a man has deposited his seed into her, and woman, what do? We take things in, right? We have an open system. Anyway, let's talk about science for a minute. It is what it is. We are not going to change it. It's not going to change. I'm sorry. Even though it's wrong to say, it isn't going to change.
That double standard.
The
like
double
when you
standard.
talk about submission, right? Let's talk about submission because that's like a dirty word. No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to say, you're supposed to submit to your husband. Now, I'm not saying submit to foolishness. You have to submit to somebody that's, a leader, the boss of your house, and all this stuff. But let me tell you what I learned. Right. Let me tell you what I learned. So I was in a marriage. And my ex, it was like our house was almost upside down. I was spiritually the leader. He didn't have any interest in church or whatever. But what I learned after I got divorced, even though it was upside down, I was supposed to respect him, until I was released from that or I left or whatever. But what did I do? I used my mouth and I tore him apart. The Bible says a wise woman builds a house. I tore my house down. Now, that doesn't mean I was not going to get divorced. No, I wasn't going to get divorced because I did everything I was supposed to do. He didn't change.
He didn't.
Still would have led to divorce. But it's the way we go about doing things, right? So we got to take accountability. If you are a hoe, admit you are a hoe. Okay.
Just say that.
You're able to live with the consequences that comes from having multiple baby daddies, that comes from conducting yourself in a certain way, because you're going to attract those type of people. It is what it is. And we're not going to sit here and change people's minds. We're not. It's just like if a man doesn't work, if you see a man that's taking care of his kids and the woman works, oh, he must be lazy. He must be.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same.
Lazy. He a simp or something like that. Yeah, you're right.
Right. It's not changing. And I mean, the feminist movement, because let me tell you, I have a 19-year-old. When she started going to college, she sort of kind of come home telling me about burning the bras, feminine. I told her, baby girl, you are never going to tell anybody your mother raised you that way, because I didn't raise you that way. Yes, you're going to be educated. You're going to know how to run a household. You're going to know how to take care of your children and your husband, because that's the way I was raised, right?
Right.
I mean, some things you're going to change a little bit because we are in 2022. But when you start talking about, niggas ain't shit and burning your bra, I'm going to take you back to the Bible, what God says about marriage, what God says about rebellion and witchcraft and all these things, because this is real and that's how we live our lives. But the truth of the matter is that these changes that happen have to start in the household. What are you teaching your children?
That's where.
What are they seeing?
Right.
What are they listening? What are they feeding on? Is mama bitter? Is daddy bitter?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we allowing to happen in our household? Is the man actually leader? Are we as women allowing our men to be men? Are we over talking them? Because let's be honest, usually in a successful household, the woman is normally behind, well, in my culture, behind the scenes, but she really is more stronger in a sense, right? Because a woman can talk, you can talk your man up. Your man can be anything if you control this thing right here. But we don't do that because we are not.
Death and power of the tongue.
You must talk. You must tell him up. You must cut him down. That doesn't work. It doesn't. And so again, this whole can't change a whole probably.
Yeah.
Because society says you can, so you won't.
Right.
Right.
Is this what it is?
Actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing, wonderfully said, Grace. And the thing about
Eloquently said.
Yeah. And the thing about submission, gentlemen, I want you to look at me when I say this to you. When it comes to a woman, yes, you are to submit to.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with submitting. Well, I don't know why men have it out there in their head.
It's because
I don't want to bow down to a woman.
It's
pride and ego.
It's because
pride and ego.
It's because people do not understand what submission is. Submission actually is coming from a power of strength, not a power, not a position of weakness. And if you look at it as that, you're basically saying, okay, I'm going to trust you with the most prized possession I have, which is my heart. Now, if you're not worthy of it, I will take it back. But I believe that you're that, so I'm giving you that power. I don't have to do it, and the woman doesn't have to do it to the man either.
And to follow up with that, and Terry knows I'm a huge advocate of being vulnerable to your wife.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable, but at the same time, women we don't want women to tear us down when we're vulnerable, but to uplift us when we are. Because when we're vulnerable, hey, I can trust you spiritually with my mind. We can connect and be on the same page. When I'm down and when I'm vulnerable, when I want you to know something about me, when I want you to be, here with me. Like I tell my wife, I want us to always, we're not always going to be seeing eye to eye, but when I'm vulnerable and I tell you something that's most men won't even dare say.
I don't want you to hold it over my head later.
Thank you. And at the same time, women, grab it, hold it, lock it, put it in your heart, and let's continue on. Because I want you to hold on to that vulnerability and know that you can trust me at that point. I want you to be able to trust me to be vulnerable to you, and actually let's connect on that spiritual level. A lot of these relationships are not built on spirituality.
Not even close.
Nowhere.
It's not, and it should be, and it has to be. VJ. Oh,
you're on mute.
On mute. Wait a minute. Let me get you off it.
There we go.
There we go.
I will say this about it. I think it is very interesting that when women go through a period of exploration as far as it is sexually, then they get labeled a hoe. And it's been said before that, men can have multiple partners and it's fine. Women sleep around and they get hoe. But I also say that there are vastly different definitions about what is considered a hoe, right? And I will use Sierra as the prime example of this.
Come on.
You ask people, and Sierra has been passed around from pillar to post, and she's fucked everybody out of both her pants legs and whatever else, right? But then in reality, she's had like 3 high-profile relationships that these people can name, right? But she's just fucking everything that's moving. So then it's like, oh, well, now she's so now she's married to Russell Wilson, and it's like, oh, well, and then it's like she gets all this vitriol for it, and it's like, where is the animosity and vitriol coming from? And it's because there is a subset of people who feel like she is not worthy or deserving of a good man because they think she was a hoe.
But yet, Future has like 12 baby mamas.
Oh, God.
No, not even that.
Don't start talking about that.
She wasn't even hoeing. That's the part that's
correct. No, she wasn't. Right. She wasn't. Meanwhile, she was with a hoe. Yeah.
People labeled this poor. She's in the industry. She's 16 when she first starts making music. She's in the industry. She's a teenager. She's a black girl, and they so very often age us up as black people, black girls, and black boys, and make us adults at 16 and 17 years old. Look at the way they talked about Aaliyah. She was 15. Oh, she's so mature for her age. No, she's a child.
Yeah.
She's a child.
Yeah. Society does sex
and
up
so
a lot of black women far too early. Yeah.
Right. And so you're sexualizing this poor girl who's 16. She's dating age appropriately, mind you, like Bow Wow or whoever. So she's not dating old men. She is just simply dating as a young woman, and now she's a hoe.
But we got
And she's
people out here
undeserving of
idolizing
love.
Kim Kardashian. What the fuck?
Now that's a hoe.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She has a whole I try to be as sex positive as I can about things. That's not my business. That's not my, that's not my monkey or my circus. I don't, I don't have a heaven or hell to put that girl in. So, that's not my judgment to pass for her. So I don't have to like it. I don't think it's great, but whatever, that's on her. But I will say very often to label somebody as a hoe and then make it seem like because they had sex, they are somehow sullied or unworthy of love or respect. Like, how does that then make them less of a person? If we're all having sex, because I had some more sex than you think I should be having, I'm somehow now a hoe for that.
Right.
Now, if you're in a relationship and you're supposed to be committed to somebody, that is a very different situation involving your consent and your, and what you have, your agreement with another person in your relationship.
Right.
Now, if that is what you were doing, you're cheating, you're hoeing, that is a whole other animal.
Right.
But if you are a single adult person having consenting sex in the privacy of your home, I just do not know how that all of a sudden makes you a shitty person because you had sex. Now, again, everybody is raised differently. Your values may differ, and that is okay. But I just feel like at the base root of all of it, if your values are what they say you are, what you say they are, your values are that you treat people with respect, right? We are all still people. And so I am not going to treat you less than because I don't agree with you having, sex. Like, because and I will also say this, especially because I went to University of Texas, the college culture there is interesting, right? Because with white women, they will now they will fuck out of both pants legs. I've seen shit.
They will have 3 holes for you.
They will fuck for 4 years. They will be on their back from Thursday at 8 p.m. till Monday 8 a.m. when they go back to class every week for 4 years, and then they graduate, get married, go have kids, and you never hear it about again. Nobody's bringing up Mama Jan, Sally, and Susie were fucking and sucking, doing the twofer every weekend after the football game, and nobody is telling them you can't have a wife, you can't have a husband and a family after that. Like, and so it's interesting to me, particularly with Black people, that we're so quick to condemn people as if that somehow makes them less than, and we have to judge them for it.
Someone drop one of the clues for her. Lord, God.
It just really bugs me. Like, that really bothers me. Like, and it's
talk about it.
Because I mean, and again, I'm not saying that those are great life choices, right?
Right.
But we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
It's not mistake. It's life lessons. They're life lessons.
I mean, we all have to grow as people. And sometimes sometimes people have to pull you aside and say, hey girl, maybe that is a little too much. Sucking and fucking, maybe you might need to go to class a little bit more. And that's it.
Lord.
Cold. I mean, at least on Monday.
Say right quick.
Just go to class some more, girl. Maybe just rein it back. They don't really like you. Like, it just seems like you're, laying down with everybody and it's a line and maybe it doesn't even, I'm just extremely
heavy. And then she's gonna say you're jealous.
Right.
Then she can say you're jealous because she can.
When you pick
it's a poor life choice, but I just don't think that but I just don't know that if having sex condemns you forever, right? Like, that's my thing. Of all the poor life choices you could make, is it aside from getting an STD you can't get rid of or a baby, like, is it really like a life-ending choice, or is it just we've framed it that way so that people can't have things? Like,
listen up,
like, is it our fault? Like, come on. Should it really ruin the rest of your life, or is it just like some sex? Like, tomorrow's not promised. Go today.
Taking to church.
You know what is messed up about all of what you said. I totally agree with VJ. You know what is so messed up about that, though? How many people, many men, want to be interested in a woman's bedroom. Want to be interested in their life, wants to be interested in the body count. and they judge them thoroughly. But if the opposite were to happen, oh no, what I do is my business. That's private. That's personal.
Yeah.
Right.
I told you what was the line that made me fall in love with my wife, right? You know, it's my wife said to me, when we first started dating and all that, the first question she asked me was, did I have a passport? I didn't have one. She says, well, we're gonna have to remedy that and get you a passport because I like to travel.
Hey,
I'm saying, and to me that was sexy.
Yeah.
To me that was like,
She's asking
that got me hot.
you making plans like that.
Because she wants to do it with you.
Yeah.
She's asking meaningful questions because she's trying to have a real conversation with you and build something with you. She is not.
Because she's not just asking what you want to do for fun.
What you like for fun. She's not asking you what you bring to the table. Like,
what you bring to the table, girl.
Which I will die on the hill that is the dumbest fucking question I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
In life. Don't ask people that. It
Please
is
stop.
so dumb. Come together and build your own table.
Find
ways to build your relationship.
What do you bring to the table?
Thank
The
you.
house that it's in. Next question.
Next question.
That's very dumb. Like if you were waiting for a person to list out a list of things that makes them worthy of dating you, then you need to grow up, get bent, and go figure out why you think that you're so fucking special that
Go
somebody
take a nap.
can come with a resume
No,
to date you.
yeah.
Like it's
Please.
so gross. It's so gross from both sides, though. Women that are like that too, Bobby, like that is just so.
Yeah.
You want a person to be rational and have a good head on their shoulders, but just
Cody.
those weird Twitter talking points are just. Nobody is like that in real life.
They're not, because they don't know how to have a conversation. People
Nobody
really
that
don't
wants
know
to-
how to have a conversation.
Nobody
Like
that
an
wants to have
actual
a relationship.
There are people who only want to write
Put it up, Cole.
sentences out there.
They gotta see it.
Before he does that, these three women need a podcast of their own. They need to come together. Y'all forming Voltron right now when y'all speak, and it's I see why Cole picked y'all, man. It was
Look,
y'all three need to come together for a podcast. This is some fire.
I just want women to I just want everybody to respect themselves enough to be with people that likes them and do the types of things to be in solid, healthy, non-toxic relationships. And if people would commit themselves to presenting the best version of themselves when they're dating people, a lot of the shit that happens wouldn't happen. A lot of the misunderstandings and miscommunications.
It would stop so quickly.
It would stop.
All right. Cole, go ahead and pull the pin on that grenade so they can blow up.
All right.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull the pin. There you go.
All right. Here's the comment.
That's a brother too.
Yes, right.
Man,
Women can't
women
bond if
can't
they have
bond
multiple
if they
partners. That's
have-
why a woman's body count is important to know.
Ooh, pick me.
Logging off. Bye.
And I'm
Nice
glad
knowing
you
y'all.
said that, Stephanie.
Nice being here. Thank you for Cole.
I will give it to you on this one.
It's so interesting. That's what men actually think.
Like bonds,
You
like
actually
adhesive,
think.
like
So let's just be very,
bonds,
very
like
clear.
Avatar.
It's like, here's the thing that's really interesting about the whole concept of monogamy. That ain't on the continent of Africa,
Is it safe to come back on here, y'all?
It's very, very polygamy is very much thing because we're talking about energy. And that boy that just talked, honey.
It ain't
I don't
safe.
know
Y'all
what
didn't tell
women
me.
you've talked to. You probably keep trolling the college campuses, probably on Spirit Day, homecoming. Go talk to women who aren't actual women. You actually don't know what you're talking about. Women can form bonds because here's the thing: friendships are relationships. I can have a relationship with every person here, and it's so equal to do so. The thing about it is that it's not that women can't form bonds with different men. It's that men can't handle that women can form bonds with other men. We actually can do it. Y'all just can't handle that. But you want women to handle that the other way. It's like, you should. I mean, let's be open. Let me date. Okay, so I'm gonna go date. No, not you. Why? This is about energy. This is about love, right?
I'm
your
holding
ego.
my mouth because I'm scared of the things that are going to come out of it. And they're too
Yeah.
ugly for this particular platform.
VJ, I have to have a very ugly comment, and I'm
there
gonna
was
say
these
it.
very ugly
'cause
statements. I don't know that man. I don't know who raised him. Maybe it was wolves. Maybe he was congealed in a gutter somewhere. I don't know. But
it was under the troll, because let me just be very clear. He very much seems like a man who doesn't like women. He doesn't like black women. He just likes black pussy. So you don't like women. You just like put somewhere to put your penis in a holster. You like a cum dumpster. Women are actual people.
Message him back. I want to know more about these bonds. I need to know what kind they are.
Yeah, what is Kenny?
I need to know what the bonds do. Is it like is it covalent? Are they?
I mean, do they talk? I mean, do they
like,
go to like dinner? I mean, do they like spark? I mean,
can I have?
Is it like Gorilla Glue? Can we put the bumper back on our car with it? What are the bonds?
I mean, does it need to spray glue and then put it in?
Okay. I have a question right quick, because it looks like Grace. It looks like Grace is creating forest fires in her head right now.
I'm just like, I'm waiting for her to say whatever it is, because I
can't wait.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna wait. She's gonna say it, talk, and I'm gonna turn my camera off.
I mean,
Go ahead, give her a solo.
Imagine. I can't imagine in 2022 that somebody would have that mentality. Like, seriously, he sounds like he's about 5'2". Okay.
Oh.
And
all right, let me log out.
Okay, listen. This is my thing, okay? Whatever a person chooses to do with their body and their vagina is your business. As long as you can get up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror, that's your business. It's not me using my vagina, it's you using your vagina. Why do I care? And why would you come on here and say this bullshit? Like, bond with who? Who? Because, I mean, I don't get it. Do you know him, Cole? Do you know this man?
Nope, do not know him at all.
Wait, Cole's like, I do not know him. I do not know him.
Jam girl, turn it up. What else?
I'm not claiming him.
He's like,
nope.
He's
I'm
like,
not claiming him.
sorry to this man. I don't know who this man. Sorry to this man.
Like my father said, you're to come to you keep. The guys that I know, the friends I know, they wouldn't say stuff like this.
Oh, women can't form bonds.
I bet you got nobody. And he probably
have multiple partners.
So,
and this is why I wanted Grace to grace us. See what I did there?
I love that she said he's 5'2". She's being gracious. She is 5'1".
Oh, she was gracious even in that comment.
I don't even know whoever
Grace extending grace. I love it.
Yes.
Whoever he's friends with. I'm sorry, but Lord, no, he didn't.
Oh no. We will address this on the other side, because actually it is the Q&A, and you all will get a chance to do that. So when we come back, the question that I think you just saw will be answered. And I think the answer might not be what he was looking for.
I'm taking notes, y'all. Go ahead. Roll that beautiful beat for you.
This is Revelations the panel. We'll be right back.
We'll take questions from the audience. This is Revelations, the panel. Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be heard.
Nicole.
A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King Podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. If you're looking for a sports program that gives you the flavor.
Washington Commanders? Really?
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
That pulls no punches.
Thuggish act by a thuggish actor.
That gives you some humor.
Praise everything LeBron does and never criticize it.
If you want a show that gives you good times, then this is that show. BS3 Network proudly presents.
I am Cole Johnson, and welcome to
Go Sports. with a Z. Every Friday on Patreon. And every Saturday on YouTube, Spreaker, and all other outlets. Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BET in years.
KPeeps.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I
The
can't
Ray
stand
J.
that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast, where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central.
Running along on Revelations, the panelists, we talk why men and women seem to compete against each other. Now, the last commercial you saw was a show that is involving two of our panelists here. Kev, I will ask you first. So how would you describe the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast?
Glad you asked. Terry, when Terry asked me to be part of something, his podcast, I wanted to make sure that I'm part of something positive. And the way that we do that is take accountability of our past. Hence the reason knuckleheads. We used to be knuckleheads, right? At one point we were dummies, we were idiots, we were foul. Every name in the book when we were young, but I look at it as me and Terry and our other guys, we're these mature men who are now in the position and we have a role to play to these young people out here. To tell them, hey, you don't have to go out there and be a damn knucklehead. You don't have to be out there doing the stupid shit that we did. There's a different path. Now, whether you want to learn from experience, by all means, feel free. Do you, boo-boo. But at the same time, we're here to teach you a lesson. So the way I describe it as, our podcast is we're very up to date. We're very hip to everything, but we also bring that knowledge that, of what is needed in every young man's life, every young woman's life, that love and positivity. We definitely bring that as well. I love these guys. I'm very proud to be part of something great. I think we can be even bigger. And I appreciate the opportunity. I think I've maybe missed one or two shows since we've been live, if that. Terry can tell you, but I'm very loyal to my boy because he gave me this opportunity. I'm very loyal to him, and I thank him every time that we get on the show. I make sure he sees my appreciation for me for even having me on there, to even voice myself on that show. So again, if in front of everybody, Terry, thank you for even having me, my guy.
No, you my dude, man.
Yeah,
no, you my dude.
Yeah, you all have a lot of great chemistry. Now, Terry, this was your baby. You created the platform, and it evolved from a one-man show into a four-man show. Now, how has the transition been, and do you see more changes coming with the show?
I don't foresee any changes happening. Everybody that's on the panel, they have their own projects they're doing. E Digger has his own on BS3. Quinn has his own video game streaming. So I don't foresee anything happening. But what I want to reiterate is this: the Knucklehead Chronicles started out as a solo show, and it was just me telling my story. Now, if you ever get a chance, there is a 10-part series about where I came from and all that junk. That's where it started. It was supposed to be a book, but I hate writing, so I decided to get behind the mic and tell my story that way. And so the panel came about was because one day, content creation is hard. You know what I'm saying? And so when that was a struggle. So I said I need some help, and so that's when I incorporated Kevin. We started doing the show, Even though what Kevin said is true, we try to be positive. We try to, come with some advice and all that. Now, I want everybody to understand that all 4 of us that are on this panel are not perfect.
Far from it.
We still make those daily mistakes. We still make those mistakes, and we're still growing and evolving as men. But the premise of the show is to help young men to avoid the mistakes that we've already done, and we can recognize, hey man, don't do that, and so that's kind of what we do. And we talk about relationships and current topics, and we just talk about a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, great. No changes yet.
Yeah, well, and if we can bring back another concept of having to talk shit about Kanye West on Sunday. But yeah, Sundays is where we get down, folks. And
Sunday, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Central. Yes, that's how you do it. It's a must-see program on the BS3 network. And please say hello to Quinn and Digger for me.
I will do it.
Because I love them brothers too. All right, now it is time for the Q&A portion of the program, and I think there's an interesting question that we're about to have answered. Let's see. Ronnie Beziasco asks.
VJ's face though. Look at VJ's face though.
Yeah, Ronnie Beziasco asks, how many prostitutes are married? Not many. Too many partners hurt women, not men. There is research that backs this. So the question, how many prostitutes are married? I don't care who takes it. The floor is anybody's.
Hey, well, baby, how do you know all the prostitutes? How would you know?
Because you deal with them.
How would you know?
Where's your research, sir? What?
Show your work. Johnny has 5 apples. So Johnny has 5 motherfucking apples. Show your work. Because what are you even?
Yeah. Show your work.
I want to know how women who literally choose what dick goes in any hole in their body has equated them to being a prostitute, a lady of the night. It's like, what is wrong? Like, do y'all hear y'all? That's it.
Well, also,
y'all use your fingers.
Who knows this guy? Anybody know him? Who is he?
Nobody knows him. I believe
whose man's is that? Whose man's?
I mean, if you're
whose man's is this?
If I'm a sex worker, I'm not bringing my spouse to go do the sex work. So how would you know if they have, like, they're not bringing their spouse for a threesome? It's like women really choose what penis goes in them, and it's like, prostitute. That's not how prostitution works.
In the words of the comedian
Delay, me, actually.
In the words of the comedian Delay. Come and get this nigga, man.
Oh my!
Y'all better come get y'all man.
I don't know where you got the stats from. Like, where did you get that from?
So I want to say this.
Google his ass.
I don't know if he's playing devil's advocate. I'm not gonna play devil's advocate. I don't know who's he. I mean, I appreciate the comment, by the way, because this is also content. Hella funny to me because I get to see these 3 beautiful women just fire off at them.
Which one of y'all called Ray J a river cricket? Is that what I heard in that promo?
That would be one E digger. That'd be E digger.
That'd be some E digger, man. Hey,
river cricket. Come on, pick.
Oh dang, he got downgraded to a river cricket. A moon cricket.
I say that to say this, man. Look, get you a Bible, put your hand on it. And read up on something else, man. Come up with a better comment, man.
Wait, put it back on the screen. I gotta see it again. Put it back on the screen.
Okay.
What makes you?
How many prostitutes are married? Not many. Ellipses has 3 dots, not 4. Too many partners hurt women, not men. There is research that backs this. Show your work, Ronald.
Wait a minute, Stephanie. Are you actually giving him grammar tips?
Yeah. There should have been a comment.
A comma. I think you're playing devil's advocate. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Don't do it,
Terry, because you're gonna get. Have you not been on the same show as with these 3 women? Don't play devil's advocate. That's a bear trap.
The devil don't be no advocate in this. It's like, if you want to say you're gonna be devil's advocate for this bullshit, actually say what devil you advocating for.
Because you don't put your own foot in the bear trap. I'm trying to warn you. I need you Sunday. Don't.
He wanted to smoke. He wanted to smoke. It's like
Is this your man's?
That is
Well, I'm
toxicity
also
at
a
its
firm
finest.
believer that the devil does not need any more advocates.
He don't.
He
He
needs
got too many.
zero
He got
advocates.
too many demons in
I'm
his
one of the first
soul.
believers of that too, VJ.
Does not need advocates. So I'm not even sure what the purpose was. And whatever research he did, maybe he did do some. I don't know.
He just went to that one corner where he see all the ladies and the
maybe
men.
he's booting up X Jeeves. I can't speak to.
Maybe he was cheated on. Maybe he was cheated on. I mean, no one was faithful to him.
Maybe it's
he
coming from a place of
Maybe
hurt.
his wife left him for a prostitute. That's what it sounds like.
Grace, go ahead.
We were talking about people being bitter, so maybe he's just bitter.
So bitter. It's like, ooh, you so angry. Your prostitute.
What if you got me set up?
All right.
I was like, oh, what did they set up? Oh, what research?
Wow.
Oh,
you went down to the strip. You went down to the
sex worker stole his money. Oh,
who filled out your? Were you standing with your clipboard under there? Excuse me, I'm doing some research about prostitution. Can you talk to me?
Are you married? Yeah, are you married? Are you married?
He can't be married. There's
The moment
no, I mean, did he go ask these prostitutes where they married? Like
the moment I saw this question, now I have known both Stephanie and VJ since 2016. The moment I saw this question, I knew the two of them were going to eviscerate the whole statement from the first letter to the last.
Really is 3 dots. I want him to know.
Oh my.
I want him to just.
But nobody else in the
more
chat got
research.
any questions for us?
As Grace pointed out.
Any other questions?
Any other
Oh,
questions?
Yeah, as Grace pointed out, we don't know that man's story, so maybe he just needs to do some.
Sorry
more
to this
research
man.
And he.
No, I think that Ron is a bitter bitch. That's what I think. He's a bitter
BB.
Wow.
He a BB.
Yeah, BB.
Come on, BB, baby.
He's a BB.
Baby, you're BB.
He's a BB, baby. Oh Lord. Okay.
B to the
All
second
right.
power.
Now,
Oh my God.
now, I did receive a question outside of the chat, and that question, of course, is addressed to all of you. And that question is: toxic masculinity / femininity within your own gender. How do you want to eradicate it?
She got something she want to say.
Yeah, she's about to
just let it go.
explode.
I know y'all want to eradicate it from the opposite gender.
Just
How
let
would you
it go.
eradicate it from your own?
Oh, toxic femininity? Is that what
Yeah.
we're doing?
Toxic femininity with women, toxic masculinity with men.
I don't want to eradicate it. I want to get in on the scam. Can someone
Hello?
let me know when the MLM meets so that I can start selling my classes and my ebooks on how wearing a skirt below your knee is going to get you a good man?
Look here, I
Oh,
want to get my
God.
own little thing where I can talk about your low vibrational pates because you have a
Yes,
chicken leg
yes,
and
I
a
am
burger
ready
and a
to
hot
tell
dog
you-
at the buffet
No
that I
red
set up
lipstick,
for you, but to
No red nails.
girl.
I've got this ebook ready.
I'm gonna make sure I lick my fingers when I'm talking to you about your low vibrational plate because I have like a flat and a scoop of potato salad on mine.
I'm ready.
I love the how
I'm loving
Terry, how us 3 men are just sitting back. This is great.
It's time to
beautiful.
scam.
It's beautiful.
It's scamming season. It's almost Christmas. We're going to get these ebooks out of what?
We got to get our coloring books out. We got to get y'all to come in and come to our TikTok cookbook class. You know,
Yeah.
TikTok
So
live.
we're
We're on TikTok
cookbook.
telling y'all how to trap, quote unquote, trap some man by cooking him shrimp Alfredo 4 times a week.
Yeah, we're ready. We got it.
Well, for
We got
him.
it.
So who asked the question? I'd like to know who asked the question.
It was a coworker that asked this question. Then I wanted to
But
put that out there.
all bullshit aside, though, like I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's just women are socialized in a very specific way. And why I'm a
Unfortunately,
proponent
it is.
of being able to cook and clean and take care of a household and your children, that is not gender specific, right? And I think that is
Absolutely.
really the move that as women we need to make. We need to make a focus, and especially women that are parents to boys. I think I would like to see a lot more equal treatment in regards to the way that they raise their boys and the way that they raise their girls. And that will help a lot with things because I think that we socialize children very differently. And then we expect them to have empathy and be sympathetic to the plight of others when that is not what we have raised them with. We have not raised them to be respectful of others in that regard.
Agreed.
Correct.
Because it's not balanced. See, that's the key. You have to have a balance. And we're not teaching them balance because I want my son to do everything. And I want my daughters to do everything. Now, we ain't going to change no damn tires. We're not doing all that shit. But I'm talking about cooking, cleaning. I'm not doing that. I ain't
roadside assistance.
Listen, we can teach both to call AAA. It's fine.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you,
can call. I mean, my son, I would like for him to know these things. I mean, because it's what it is, right? But I think that we need to teach our kids a balance. There's no balance. Either it's one way or the other. And there's no healthy balance because I have to be realistic, okay? I'm an African woman. I do things, I move a lot differently than someone that was raised in this country. Now, I have children that are born in this country. So for me, balance is absolutely important because the way I was raised, I cannot teach my girls everything to do the way, because it's not going to work over here. In this environment, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So it goes back to balance, but we don't do that. It's either niggas ain't shit, women are hoes, but there's no balance. Why can't it be people are people, and people are going to do bad things, and men are going to do bad things, and women are going to do bad things, you know? But we don't do that because while we talk from a place of hurt, no one is saying, okay, let's go back to the drawing board and find out why I'm fucked up. Let's find out what happened in our childhood, foundational issues. We're not working on the foundation. We just want to put Band-Aid fixes. We abandon ourselves. We date multiple people in front of our children, but we don't do it the right way. And that's okay if you want to date, fine. But you don't do it the right way. You bleeding every damn way.
Yeah.
And what do your kids do? They do the same shit you're doing. It's about balance. At the end of the day, it's about balance. Where's the balance?
Could not say
I want to
it
meet
better.
Ron,
Grace.
though.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's powerful. Could not say it better.
Yeah.
And also, Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes.
And
it can't.
Blood bleeds through Band-Aids.
Ooh, drop one of Clue's bombs for her.
It's like, so the thing about it is with toxic femininity is that it's very toxic to teach women that the next woman next to you is your competition. They are always competition for you. That literally you can't trust a woman around your man, quote unquote, because that's just how women are. It's like y'all have literally turned women into these weird things where it's like, oh no, I can't be around no woman because they're just my competition. The only thing you should compete with someone else is a job. You should never be competing for another human being with another woman. Or better yet, teaching our young women that if they dress a certain way and some grown man, when you are a child, is noticing you, it's somehow your fault. Because we need to stop teaching little girls that if they dress a certain way, they are fast. Newsflash, if you talk to a woman who has been essayed, please know they're probably were not wearing something as provocative as you think they are. Like what happened? I was like essayed wearing sweatpants. I was wearing my school uniform. I was wearing my work uniform. I was wearing scrubs. I was asleep in my bed wearing full pajamas. Please stop teaching young women if they dress a certain way, that's how men are going to treat you. Newsflash, men who ain't shit, they going to treat you any sort of way, no matter what you wearing, what you got on your head, what you got on your face.
Predators
stop teaching young women. It's like, it's your fault. If something like you actually are a victim of SA, you're not being a victim. It's like, yeah, why are you blaming the victim? Some man who literally won. And also, fellas, hello, it's kind of toxic for a man to literally treat you like an animal.
Thank you.
You're like, you do realize they're actually categorizing you as animals. Oh no, you got to cover yourself up because men are animals. No, they're humans. Why are you treating men like animals and actually characterizing them by animals and then blaming women? Why you say that? Please know. If a woman has some kind of idea about a man, please know it came from a man in their life, whether by his presence or his absence. He has literally sent you the example of what a man is.
Nail on the head.
Bombs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nail on the head.
That sound,
and that's why I asked that question, Grace. Gentlemen, toxic masculinity, how we get rid of it?
Oh boy, we have this conversation on Sundays quite a bit.
Well,
how do we get rid of it? We Terry, you want to go first on this one? Because man, I'm gonna reiterate everything on our show.
Because my answer is simple, and we've been on here for 2.5 hours almost, and I'm sleeping. So I'm gonna make my answer simple. Keep it 100. Which, first of all, let me shout out Ron for his comments. Stop the cap. The last comment you just put up there, stop that. Unless you're willing to put up or screenshot your research, stop. We appreciate the comments. And I'm sure Cole likes the viewership. We appreciate you. Okay. But you're talking out the side of your neck, and that's not cool.
That's not cool
on
at
this show. All right. So anyway, the way how that's how we stop toxic masculinity.
That's how you do it. See that
Chin
direction.
checking people, because Ron, when he typed that, he know his cap. He know his cap because he wants to get a rise out of the women. It's cap, right? So we first of all, the way I feel like we'll stomp it out is we call it out every time we see it, every time we read it, every time we do it, we call it out, and put these young men like. Who said that? Was it Grace that said that about showing your work? Who said that? One of the ladies said that.
Miss VJ.
You come on here with all this nonsense, all this misinformation. You just talking out the side of your neck. Show your work, bro. Yeah. And then when these young men can't show their work, they have to change eventually.
Agreed. Go ahead, Kev.
Got to come to this realization that you got to have the conversation of toxic masculinity. There's different traits of it, and if you yourself cannot be honest, if you are that person that is toxic yourself, you can't be honest with yourself that you'll never become that. You'll never become a person, especially a person in my circle, because of course I'm going to call you out on it.
All day.
And Terry knows me. I will not. I won't keep my mouth shut for nobody. I fear one and only one. And if it's not something that I can keep positive in my circle, I don't have any room for you. Right. And that's what we men got to do. We got to make sure we got to call bullshit. You got to call a spade is what my brother used to tell me when I was little. Call a spade a spade. If this toxic masculinity is surrounding you and you are in that bunch, you're part of the problem.
Right. Why?
No, you finished? Yeah, have you finished?
No, what I was gonna say, if once you pull yourself out of that, I guarantee you're gonna get that feedback, you can get that energy that you're supposed to have, that women are attractive to, by the way. Wink, hints.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Wise.
Well, for me, I've been blessed to, again, it's the switching of my energy, surrounding myself around positive black men, positive men in general. Everybody that I'm associated with respect women. They have the utmost respect for women. Like Cole cherishes his wife. I'm saying Cole appreciates what his wife does for him, loves his wife. He puts his queen up on a pedestal. Brian is the same way.
Yeah.
And these are men that I spend a lot of hours with weekly.
Yeah.
And so that's just gonna show me this. That's what I need to do with my queen.
Yeah.
Is put her up on a pedestal.
Got to.
And it's when you start switching it up and you start hanging out with the proper people, with the people that are doing the right things, that are out there putting the proper and putting out the good energy and the good vibrations. That's what changes it.
Yeah.
It starts showing these young men that, hey, listen, these women need to be respected, need to be cherished.
Yeah.
You came from a woman.
Right. It starts there. Ron, bottom line, brother. It doesn't matter how many sexual partners a woman has. What matters is you treat them as the human being that God created them to be. Now, if they want to be single, that's their business. Just like being single or married is yours. What you have to do is you have to stop looking at body count and start looking at the totality of the woman. And before you do, look at them as body counts, as a number to knock down. Take yourself out of that equation and don't bring that toxicity in their person, because they don't deserve it. They don't need it. And they're going to look at you and think that you are worse than the ground that you will be buried under.
Buried. Amen.
Here's my what?
And that will
Saints are in
conclude.
agreement.
And that will conclude this installment's Q&A. We'll be right back with closing remarks.
All right.
This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to show that attainability. I want to show the accessibility of this kind of lifestyle.
From social media to having conversations with friends and family, you always have to put on face and say face.
What brings a smile to my face is the one person that totally believes in me, and that's my beautiful wife, Jody.
I just had to stop because I didn't value myself. I didn't love myself. And it's like, I have to learn to love myself.
Changing the world one conversation at a time. This is Revelations.
That's why we here on this platform.
Marriage. A loving splendor, a daily grind. Such is the case when Damien and Jamie get together and chop it up, for marriage is real.
Let's just lay it all out here. Let's just be real with it.
Join this wonderful couple who keeps it real and always in love. BS3 Network proudly presents Marriage is Real, where love is the only thing that matters. Live every Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Oh, and Jamie has something to say.
Deuces and trays.
Poppy J.
If it wasn't consensual, you gotta protect the parties. You gotta be cautious. But this is two consensual adults. There's nothing to protect.
Wise El Jefe.
Could that be? Could it be that? Could it be that he's not getting the box all the time? He's not getting that slobber knocker.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 10 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
That's great. I love it.
Rolling along on Revelations, the panel, we are discussing why we're having perpetual gender wars. And with the show that you'll see that will come at the top of the hour on the BS3 Network, it is Poppy Jane Wise and Hefe. Now, Wise, is there a subject at all? Is there a subject that you or Poppy J won't touch?
Maybe me, but Poppy J to touch anything. He's like he's my nephew. He's actually my blood nephew. He's my oldest brother's, one of my older brother's sons. He's actually older than me. So, but he's it's not nothing. We talk about everything, man. We talk about what was going on with Ye. Actually, this episode now is that's coming out today. It's the topic is it worth for a man to get married now? Is it worth it for men to get married now? And we discussed all that, and it was a great conversation. But I don't see anything that there isn't anything we won't touch, man. Especially if it's something that has to do with the community. And let me just put it out there: we don't focus on negative stuff. We when we talk about stuff. We talk about real life. We talk about stuff in the news. But we try to be as positive as possible, especially me anyway. But we just talk real, man. We just be ourselves. We just come in and just talk about what's on our mind. We're not afraid to speak what's on our mind.
Yeah, speaking about mind and speaking on it, you also have another platform, a beautiful one called Stuck in My Mind. Now, how did this show evolve from a solo vehicle to an interview platform?
The content. I was when I first started, I was focusing on it was during the time George Floyd got murdered, the election and all that nonsense. There was so much negative stuff out in the news that I wanted to actually focus on putting out positive content. So I started focusing on talking to people about their life decisions, what things that happen in their life, what are they doing now and kind of like stuff. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
Being able to have these conversations with these people and actually learn from them, and take what they're teaching me and applying it to my life if I feel that that's something that I need to apply. Because not every episode is not for every listener. There's some episodes that I get comments that people loved it because it touched their lives in a certain way.
Right.
And then you get those comments where, hey, it didn't touch them, it didn't affect certain people. But to me, being able to put out the positive content and have people react the way that they do, especially now when I go live, because now I'm live Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. And the reason I go live is because of you and Brian. Is I saw the interaction that y'all did with the chat, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to have my guests I wanted my audience to feel a part of the show.
Right.
I wanted them to feel like this is your show as well. Yeah, it's my show, but it's their show, it's my guest show. So Stuck in My Mind is my baby, and I loved it because I get to be myself.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's part of his company, Real Wise Productions. He also houses a radio station as well. And like you heard, he also works alongside myself and Brian Snow, Snowman in the Morning. Shout out to Snowman, of course. Well, it's always a joy to work alongside you, brother. And we formed a fast friendship over a short period of time.
Man, you're one of my best friends in this business, man.
Yeah. And likewise, brother. Likewise.
Aww.
And now it's time for closing remarks. Now, each person will roughly get 90 seconds to answer the following question. What is the one thing the opposite gender can do to lessen the tension between men and women? I will start with VJ.
Oh, okay. Oh, my turn. Okay. She's like, me? The one thing I would say is work on emotional intelligence. I think that is important for anybody. It is certainly a life skill that everybody needs to have. But very often I talk about socialization a lot, but we very much socialize men to not necessarily have that emotional intelligence or depth, right? So then when they get in relationships or in whether it be romantic or friendships with women end up having to do a lot of the emotional heavy lifting because men haven't been taught to be emotionally intelligent in the ways that we socialize women to do. So I think that is really a good place to focus. And if not for your relationships with women, but certainly just your relationships in general, whether it be, your parents, your kids, whoever, but that level of emotional intelligence is very helpful in finding ways to better deal with conflict and ways to better deal with people as a whole.
Wonderful said. Stephanie.
Ooh, 90 seconds. Okay, great. So one thing is to realize that women are people and they are not just a holster for your gun. If you lead into thinking that women are to have a woman is to just have a woman and not a partner. Partnership is a lot different than actually just having a person that you fuck all day long, hopefully. So it's kind of like when you look into it, like I want someone as a partner, because partnership means that on some level, both of you are equal because you both bring something to this. The moment that you realize that a woman is a person and that what you want in a relationship is a partnership, that is the best place to start. And stop thinking that women are just here to service you. Sex is just for your enjoyment and for her to procreate.
I like that. Grace.
So one of the things that are important to me is self-awareness. Okay. Now, there are a lot of people that say, well, they self-aware, but it's like you can have the knowledge. You can say, okay, I know that I get angry. Since you get angry, what are you doing with that? What steps are you taking to maybe monitor that or not get angry? there are too many people around you, especially like what I've experienced with men, is that they will say they have a high self-awareness and they really don't. They know they have an issue, but they're not working on that issue. So it's one thing to say you know, but then there's no action behind it. And for me, people don't like that I ask questions, right? So if I'm talking to a man, if the actions and word don't match, baby, I'm gonna ask questions. And I'm probably not the one for you because I'm gonna ask questions until I'm satisfied. And if you can't satisfy that, then you need to move on because I'm gonna continue asking questions. So that self-awareness thing is super, super important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that.
So that's the one thing that's important to me.
Yeah. And it should.
I mean, there's many, but I'm just trying to like narrow it down for the sake of time. Self-awareness.
Yeah. Kevin.
Okay, let me repeat that question one time because I want to get straight to that point.
Okay.
I don't want to time limit.
What is the one thing? What's the one thing the opposite gender can do to lessen the tension between men and women?
Communicate. It's short and simple. Communicate. Because we as men, we are taught as young, of course, not to be vulnerable, but to get short, straight, and to the point. A lot of the women nowadays don't want to just hear short, straight, to the point. They want the explanation behind it. They want everything. What's wrong with communicating the whole facts? What's wrong with communicating everything? Now I can see if you're on the time constraint, but what's important to my wife, one of her love languages is communicate. That's and you know, if you bless you. And by the way, if you don't know what love language is, I would love for y'all to go back to one of our episodes on the Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast, and we'll show you.
Are you plugging all day?
Plug.
I'm just saying, you know, these are topics we talk about. I know my wife's love language. I'm pretty sure all the men in here know their wife's love language because we have that level of maturity. But if we're gonna level the playing field, men learn how to communicate with your women a lot better. And I know I'm not perfect. I can still communicate with my wife a little bit better, and I'm teaching myself to do it on a daily basis. But that's one of the things we got to do, fellas.
Well said, Kevin. Terry.
The one thing that we can do, huh? Bring food. That's the first thing you do for me. Bring food. Bring me some tacos. That's me. You know, we need to get back to the basics. We've gone too far. We need to find out what makes us tick, what makes us happy, what makes us. We do too much. I have been caught up in my life trying to live for other folk and totally forgot about me, right? And that's where I messed up because I'm trying to fill a void for someone else and not filling my own. So we need to get back to the basics. That's just, you know, and that's going to equal it. Because once we know what we want, we won't accept anything less, right? Get back to the basics. Bring food. Get back to the basics.
Bring food. Bring tacos.
Bring tacos.
Why
street tacos, not just regular ones, street ones.
Why am I hearing Chris Rock food, sex, silence coming out of your mouth? Wise.
Oh man, Kev took my answer, but sorry. Accountability, man. We gotta start holding each other accountable.
There you go.
And we gotta hold yourself accountable. So,
that's better than my answer.
I know I'm flawed. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm glad I have a patient wife. That's she's very supportive to me because I think about it like she could have easily been like, "Yo, you 46 years old and you want to do a what? A podcast?" But she's seen how I was passionate about it, and she saw that I loved it, and she's been behind me 100%. She helped me start my LLC. She helped me get started, and has been very supportive. But she holds me accountable for stuff. I'm saying so. I'm still growing and learning, but yeah, accountability is key.
Yeah, beautifully said on all six of you, and I agree with all of that. I agree with all of what you said. Well, that wraps up closing remarks. And now we've come to the part of the show where we go plug tuning. Now, this is the time when our guests have the carte blanche to talk about anything to their heart's desires. Now, they can plug or promote anything. So when you see your face on the screen, that means the floor is yours. And we will start with Grace.
Oh, God. Oh, God. On the spot. Okay, so I have a podcast on BS3 Network called Life Happens, and it's on Wednesdays at 7 Central Standard PM. Okay, and then I'm starting another podcast with my oldest, actually, and it's called The Grace Experience, and that's going to be on Saturdays at 1 p.m., where we'll be talking about deliverance, prayer, healing, etc. And yeah, that's what I do. I like to help people heal. So if you could just follow me, I would appreciate that. So thank you.
Right. No problem. VJ?
Well, I do a podcast about true crime. It's called Vee Wrote. So you could catch that on any place that you like to listen to podcasts. And yeah, I just would love to have you follow me on Twitter. It's at MurderVPod or at VJ_Burton. You can also catch me on All Docked Up with Chris and Penrose, and you can also catch that on any platform that you listen to podcasts, and we would love to have you there, and that actually is visual as well. And yeah, I sell things. My store is on Etsy. I am Handmade by VJ, and I think that's it. Cool.
Nice. Stephanie?
Hello. I am the host of the Mocha Minutes Podcast. You can find the Mocha Minutes Podcast wherever you catch your podcasts, except for SoundCloud. That is for the DJs and for the rappers, so don't look there. Please don't look for it there. You can follow the Mocha Minutes Podcast, IG, Facebook, Instagram. Handles all the same, at Mocha Minutes. Also, if you would like to buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Mocha Minutes. Would love to have you. And Patreon for Mocha Minutes coming soon. Fingers crossed.
Oh, all
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Kev the Great.
You're muted, sir.
You muted, sir.
My bad. Sorry. Do I need to plug us even more? Yeah,
He has been plugging himself all day. Yeah.
But not myself. Everybody.
You've been plugging the show. You've been plugging the show all day.
Man, look, and the reason, and of course, I use our show as an example. But again, the Knucklehead Chronicle Podcast catches 2:30 Central Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, BS3 Network. Shout out to Ben for that, for having us on there. I just love the opportunity of everything, of even being on the show. Come check your boy out. You can catch me. Hopefully, I start my podcast, a sports podcast. I just haven't had time because I work. Yeah, man. Catch us on Knucklehead Chronicle Podcast. Hopefully, Terry got our merch coming out again, because man, I love to see people rocking our merch. And yeah, that's what we do. We live with it, baby.
All right. Speaking of Terry, the Guru.
Hey, okay, welcome back. Okay, so yeah, the Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast, the panel edition. Now that's with me, Kevin, Quinn, E. Digger. That goes live on Sundays. I personally have my own podcast, just the Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast. That is an inspirational story of where I came from, not knowing who my dad was at 16, all the mistakes that I've made, and how I became a knucklehead and how I came out. So those two podcasts are live anywhere you get your podcast. I usually try to do those twice a week or whatever. I don't have that one on the schedule, but the panel edition is every Sunday at 2:30 on BS3 and everywhere you find your podcast.
Right.
Yeah, tell Alexa to play Knucklehead Chronicle Podcast and see what she do.
Yeah, she's gonna play it for you.
Oh,
just don't play it now, Alexa. Wise.
Yeah, you can find. Before that, I'm just gonna let everybody on the panel know you have an open invitation to come on Stuck in My Mind podcast.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
whenever y'all ready, just hit me up.
I'm
ready.
You'll love it.
We can definitely set something up. But yeah, you can find Stuck in My Mind podcast on all major platforms, the audio version, and then Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and then you can also check out Poppy Jane Wise every Friday night, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern time on the BS3 network. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, Grace Rabia Wood, VJ Burton, Stephanie Williams, Kevin Peoples, Terry Little, Wifero Otero, or Wise El Jefe, thank you for taking the time to be a part of this special presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thoroughly respect each and every one of you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Man, it was a blessing just to hear all of y'all, man. Like, it was a different perspective from every person, every voice in here. Very strong and opinionated, and well eloquently placed out with every opinion and everything that was done. It was a blessing. Today was a blessing.
It's like Prince Hakeem right there. I'm just so happy to be here.
Thank you, guys.
And shout out to Cole.
Has been with us for quite some time. It seemingly needs fresh faces and new issues to throw more proverbial logs on this fire. Maybe, though, we need to stop thinking about the war and start counting up the cost. When I think of women, I see how we can show bravery with softness and vulnerability like they do. Dr. Cornel West once said, "It takes more courage for someone to plunge within the abyss of one's soul than that of a soldier on a battlefield." A woman's nature, along with displaying love, is doing the self-discovery work to be a more present human being in this world, while giving us the proper building blocks in order to live life the correct way. When I think of men, I see the permission to test limits and push boundaries. Many children credit men for giving them the sense of adventure. When properly motivated, a man will protect all that he surveys and loves. Men live for the fight, and it's that fierce defense of all that he loves that endears him to his friends, his family, and to society. The Bible says, "And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony." Men need the strong delicacy of a woman. Women crave for the inner warrior of a man with the velvet glove touch. The opposite gender provides things we naturally lack. Simply put, men and women need each other. To paraphrase the stylistics, the genuine love of masculinity and femininity are what truly makes the world go round.
Many thanks to Grace Rabia Wood, VJ Burton, Stephanie Williams, Kevin Peoples, Terry Little, and Wise El Jefe for giving us their perspective on this topic. You have my thoughts. What's yours? Now join us every Tuesday on YouTube and every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central on the BS3 Network, where you will see a different person being interviewed by yours truly each and every week. For changing the world one conversation at a time, I'm Cole Johnson, and this has been a special presentation of Revelations.
Thank you for tuning into Revelations. To download this episode, go to Acast and type Revelations. For apparel, go to Spring and type Revelations. Music by Lakey Inspired.